Good God. I'm live. I got hat hair from going to Costco with my hat and plague doctor mask. Hey, Crime Stoppers. My boy got this and went to go take his state ID. They knew. It's all around us. We're just ignorant as it gets. Anyhow, I was like, oh, I was supposed to do something today. Oh, yeah, make a video. I was going to make a video. Only because I have, it's May Day. This is the end of a 13-day ritual. If you are among the initiated, no such things. So this is the last day of it. Tomorrow will be, if you couldn't feel it, well, you couldn't feel it. But yeah, they're naughty and they do naughty stuff. And they're really doing lots of naughty stuff because they're worried about what comes. And they believe if they make the proper sacrifices. Anyway, so I am shocked and amazed as I was readmitted to Facebook to scroll and see. Well, we won't get into it, but the 90-day ban, by the way, they really didn't want. I can't believe I didn't get banned here. I can't believe I'm still here. But anyway, these guys have decided that, I can post on Facebook again. Anyway, so I'm scrolling on Facebook and oh my God, the number of my friends and soon to be erstwhile friends that did that. You can't tell them anything. I'm blown away. Anyhow, this one right here might be of use right now. And also this one, for those of you that, I don't know if you're like me, but I have this feeling in the pit of my stomach the more I talk to people and like, oh yeah, I'm totally good. I'm like, see, and that's what it wasn't a joke. How will you know? You don't have to ask, they'll tell you. I'm just like, okay, at this late date, could you do a little research? Could you do a little bit of research? Could you just do some research? You have to go off of the mainstream and mosey on over to places like Rumble. I can't always scroll on Gab. I can't always scroll on Gab because it fucking hurts my eyes occasionally because Gab is no holds barred. And holy fuck, some of this stuff you see there. And one of the things you'll see there now is there are many, many, many adverse reactions going on right now. The VAERS for reporting injuries. Let's just put it this way. Go do the research and you will find that in the last 4 months, more people have been reported by the CDC. This is not hearsay. That was a fire engine. That wasn't just an ambulance or a police car. Somebody's having an unhappy evening. This is Saturday night, the Saturn's night. Yeah. So this is the last of it, of that ritual that goes on. It's a 13-day ritual. Go look it up. Just freaking do some research. You're connected to the whole world here, the internets. You got to know how to look for that because they're not just going to be like, yeah, here's our satanic ritual. But if you know where to look, you can find out what's been going on for the last 13 days. And holy crap, the private jets on Maui. They're here for that. Everybody likes to come to Maui. Even the guys that worship Ishtar. All right, here's what I was going to do. Here's what I like to do. I've been reading Black's Law. You should also read Bouvier's. I searched for the word right. Because here's my favorite thing about most of the muggles, and us too, my own self. I know my rights. The fuck you do? You don't even know what they are. You don't know the definition of them. You don't know Jack Doodoo Caca. So I'll just read it to you. And somebody, this other guy was reading, I think, out of Bouvier's, and somebody's like, well, Bouvier's not law. No, but it tells you what the words in the law mean, and it tells you, I can find no facts or evidence that the APA applies to the common or living man. I can find no facts or evidence that any of the codes and statutes apply to the living man. I can find plenty of facts and evidence that show that they apply to the legal fictions. But now, see, here's the part that's going to get interesting when we talk. You might want to think about this and do some research. Certainly don't take it from me. How to put it carefully, clearly, concisely. The living man is not obligated to the... Okay, so here's what a lot of people do. They say they admit that, oh, I'm the authorized representative, but that's not me. But see, if you're the authorized representative, you can be construed as the obligee. Got to look that word up. So obligee of the, or trustee of the fiction that is on your birth certificate that was created by fraud. And so there's your out. That's why so many people spend so much time trying to educate people on the concept of that birth certificate, because that's the nexus of everything. You are the genesis. Without you, there wouldn't be any paperwork. Okay, you came here with rights that were given to you by God. This is no accident. The Big Bang, sure, go do the math, and Big Bang doesn't check out so well, but they want you to think this was all just an accident and we're an accident of evolution. You look with new eyes at pictures of humans, and you will see that, no, this is creation, smart design, intelligent design. The thing, the entity, the whatever you want to call it, that created you, gave you rights. You have God-given rights. These are not, wait, I wrote it down, acquired rights. They were given to you by God. You can't give them away if you want to, because they're not yours to give. They were given to you by God. Simple as that. So you need to, you don't need to, you just need to declare, and it's already been declared when you get right down to it. Go look at the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution for the United States of America. Not the one, not the Constitution of the United States. Did you hear America? Yeah, because I stopped, because it's United States. That's the corporation. That's the, and all the subsidiaries underneath are state of Hawaii, state of California, state of Arizona. All private corporations, all with DUNS numbers, all with counties that are also private corporations, all with DUNS numbers, all residing in this place called Washington, D.C. Okay. So there's this thing called a zip code, and you are considered to be in a postal zone. And those postal zones, I got a post office walking distance from here, are all zones inside Washington, D.C. Fact check me. All right. So they're assuming, because you receive mail at various addresses, that you are within. You have to make, so see, the W's, notice I'm not doing notes today. The W's, and this is on purpose, because I go back and watch these videos too, and I cringe a lot of times. So like I said, fact check me and fucking do your research, because every once in a while, what I say and what I meant to say turn out to be two different things upon inspection. Oh, also, I should give you this. Somebody was watching my last video and they said I overdid it. They said I knew when you wrote a 4 and a 6 or something, and I didn't write that they knew I was fooling around. So yeah, I'll give you this just for fun. If you go back and watch that last vid, which is way too long, but if you happen to, let me, hold on a second. I meant to have this up. Sorry. Yep, there you go. I wrote this little book. It's a book on subtraction. Anyway, all right, so I'll put them right here. If you like one, free one, I'll go send them to you. But it's one of those deals where you got to give me your email address. But I mean, it's me. I'll just send you the book. It's free. And it's one of those deals where I don't download it. I don't let you download it. I actually send it to your email. Anyway, it's a book on subtraction for little kids. Okay, so anyway, the point being is that they have many tricks and traps. You have to thread your way through. I don't always, many people don't get it right. And as soon as you do get it right, and they even tell you in the statutes, that if you people figure out how to weave your way through and get the processes, and enough of you do it, they're going to change the process. Simple as that. So you have to come up with one that's non-dependent. So you have to understand a few things like the contract law. And the contract law says that minors cannot be entered into contracts that are not voidable. You were definitely a minor at the genesis of that paperwork called the birth certificate. You didn't agree to that. You probably didn't agree to the social security number either. Okay, now here's the thing. The accounts are already there. The bonds are already there. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I'll leave it at that. But the idea is it tells you, and I have made videos, it tells you some of the process that you need to go through. In other words, you have to open up a new TDA account, Treasury Direct account. Figure out how to do that. That's beyond my pay grade. Then you have to figure out how to get the bonds that they've already created moved into that account from the trustee that has them, the custodian, sorry, that has them now. See, got to use the right words. It's not a trustee, it's custodian. And if you go read the law, you'll see how this all works. And that's at 31 CFR. 643 or 646. I don't know. Anyway, it's in 31 CFR. The CFR, not the USC. I wrote it down. But the idea is that you need to figure out how to take back control of all this stuff that they've done. And the way you do it is you inform them of the fraud and inform them. You'd actually have to inform them of your rights, but you should know what they are. So when you say that, you're standing on your rights or your fundamental rights, or you talk about the fundamental law, or you talk about common law and so forth, well, guess what? This nation was founded, that United States Republic, by a bunch of Masons, and they don't just let anybody in the club. Should I leave it at that, or do I need to expound? So if you're a dumbass muggle that decided to do this, you ain't going to get in the club. Simple as that. All right, let's read some rights. Right as a noun. Okay, right as a noun and taken in the abstract sense, justice, ethical correctness, or consonance with the rules of law or the principles of morals. In this significant, see, you got to know what the word means, right. How is this talking about rights or just right? Like right and wrong, or in the right, or, as a difference between right and left. Pick the right. In the significance, in this signification, it answers to one meaning of the Latin jus, right? Jus, and serves to indicate law in the abstract, considered as the foundation of all rights or the complex of underlying moral principles which impart the character of justice to all positive law or give it an ethical content. Now, positive law, there's a term you need to know. Not all the titles are positive law. Mama Google will show you that. Type USC titles and you will see that 26 USC, which you know as a tax code, is not positive law. 28 USC is positive law. Then you should learn about the word assumpsit. See, because they assumed that I was a dumb muggle and I didn't know what assumpsit meant, but actually I do. So she tried to say that I was assumpsit, but I am non-assumpsit. Non-assumpsit means that I am not one who is obligated to perform, in one sense. See, I have no duty or obligation to the corporation absent contract. Neither do you. Now it gets a little tricky because saying it is one thing and doing it is another thing, and having documents that reflect that fact is another thing altogether also. And there is a way to go about getting certain documents for identification wherein this is me doing calculations on a coin, how long it would take. Let's not get distracted. Anyway, L-E-I-N. They have an address, and you might just mention that the Law Enforcement Information Network should be informed of the fact that you know how to sue bonds and that you are a living man, and that if you violate my rights, you will be held liable. Just put that as a note so that when I give you my ID, you look it up and it goes, let that one alone. He could take your job. All right. You got to know how to sue bonds, though. So I put it here every time. Oh, actually, no. This one doesn't have the procedure on how to sue bonds. This one, more better. I'll give you this anyway. This is Kirk's Law Corner. Homeboy kicking ass up there in Idaho. You know he's over the target, and you know he's starting to get some results because, ooh, they killed his PayPal. And he doesn't understand that they're about to kill his Patreon. But they killed his PayPal, and they've made it difficult for you to give him digital donations. But that motherfucker right there, that I just put the thing, has managed to get some U.S. Marshals to do the things that they're supposed to do because he complained and he filled out the forms the way you're supposed to. And that is in a treatise on arrest and false imprisonment. It's in there. And then you can go back and just look up right here on the YouTubes, Kirk's Law Corner, and watch some of his videos. His last few videos, he basically says, look, here, you cut and paste, right? Here's USC, 18 USC, Section 4, misprision of felony, or 18 USC. I mean, there's all of them. I've gone over them 100 times. Well, maybe not 100 times. That's an exaggeration. But more than once have I talked about the various Title 18 violations that are blatant and obvious, under color of law, federally protected activity, on and on and on. There's like at least, 15 or 20 of them that you could cite. Now, here's the thing. You can't just say, oh, they violated this. Now you have to, what conduct violated or caused you to say that they have violated Title 18, section, subsection, right? You can't just say that it was this order from the mayor or this order from the judge or whatever. We were trying to go to church, which is protected by the First Amendment, and such officers tried to keep us from going at such time. Their names were at this street, in front of this church at this time with these witnesses. They did do this conduct, which violates that law. All right. Or excuse me, statute. But see, by contract, they have sworn an oath to that Constitution and to uphold the Constitution for the United States, full stop. United States Constitution comes with some enactments and enforcement. Those are the U.S. titles. They come in two parts. The one is the USC. There's 54 of those, and titles in the USC. And then the other part is the CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations. The regulations implement the USC, right? Those are the implementing regulations. And generally, the positive laws have implementing regulations, and the ones that are not positive law have no implementing regulations. Okay, we stay in Law 101, on Saturday night. And I'm with I don't know where you guys are. It's 8:30 here. We're the guys that are so... what are you going to do? Really? You're going to go to a bar with the muggles now and let them shed all over you after they tell you about how they got there? Anyway. Back to... Oops, not that. Back to Black's Law. Talking about rights. All right, this goes on and on. So what I'm reading is Black's Law, and it's the Black's Law from the place I just... So if you want to follow along... It's right here in the bottom, right? There's Bouvier's Law Dictionary, 1856, Black's Law, 4th edition, as opposed to Black's Law, 10th edition, by the way. But these give you definitions of the words, and I've said it until you're tired. I'm sure you're tired of hearing me say it. You got to know what the words mean, and then you got to start doing some etymology and figure out what the syllables mean, even. And once you start doing that, holy cow, a whole bunch of things are going to start falling into place quickly and easily. Let's see here. So, I mean, this right goes on and on. I'm on page 1564 of 1956 in Black's Law 4th edition. And that's where you find rights. And then it has all manner of definitions here. Right in court. Si rectus incuria. Right in action. This is a phrase frequently used in a place of choose in action and having an identical meaning. right of discussion, right of division. And then there's over here, we talk about private rights. And see, there are two kinds of rights. There are perfect rights and imperfect rights. And you are going to write documents to perfect your rights. You're not going to have to claim them or declare new ones, or because you can't declare all your rights. You have so many of them. But you can perfect your rights. So maybe you want to perfect your rights by letting them know that you are aware of your rights and that you have never waived them and that you never intended to waive them. And any signature that waives any right by contract must be null and void because it was given without full disclosure, usually because of fraudulent concealment, fraud, outright fraud, fraudulent concealment, fraudulent conveyance of language, non-disclosure. You never would have signed your rights away if you knew what the hell you were doing. So time to admit and see, they understand this very simple maxim, which is Dale Carnegie wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People. Most people will never admit they made a mistake. So both are in error, not just one or the other. You can't just be mad at them. Yes, you were ignorant, and yes, they kept the fact that, see, like when my boy turns 18, you're going to claim his bonds. Just like we all should have. But he didn't, I didn't know. You didn't know, so we didn't do it. So they presume that they can keep doing what they've been doing after you've reached the age of 18. Now, see, here's the other thing. I have a slight issue with this because when I was 18, I did fill out selective service. So it should have told them that I was 18, but I told selective service. I didn't tell these other guys. Just like I told IRS, and IRS doesn't mess with me anymore. In fact, we're friends. In fact, IRS is good, is your buddy. Because they'll let you know that there is no Form 990 that these corporations are supposed to fill out, which will give you the clue that will tell you that, yes, these are private corporations. And I went, go find out Duns and Bradstreet and look up their Duns numbers. If they were public entities and de jure governments, they wouldn't have a Duns number. It's all corporate rule. All of it. Okay. And don't forget to figure out how to claim your share in the corporation. Big damn deal, that. Okay. So the idea being is, and see, like I said, I'm not doing nothing. You do your own damn research. Fine. I mean, hell, I could just be some guy in a green shirt on the internet with crazy hair and some sunglasses in the middle of the night. Well, actually, they're not sunglasses. They're pinhole glasses. They're cool. And my vision has, in fact, improved. I promise. And I met this woman, and her name, Iris, would have been cool if her name was Iris. But anyway, she did full-on iridology on me. And anyway, she was an old woman when I met her in 1996. And anyway, pinhole glasses, it's a thing. Anyway, back to the law. Well, the rights. Oh, right of privacy. Many things that are happening now, he said, picking his words carefully, are happening in the private. You're expecting things to be exposed to you in the public, but they have right to privacy. So many of the actions that are happening in the private. This is not public information. So now, in the public, they're putting on a play for you. Theater. Excellent theater. But theater nonetheless. And there are quite a few of you, I believe, that have figured out something ain't right here. That looked like her, but that might not be her. In fact, actually, that doesn't look like her. But they say it's her while I'm looking at this thing that isn't her. And same thing with him. It looked like him. Well, it kind of looked like him. But actually, if you look closely, it don't look like him. But they say it's him. It's fun at this point. It should be fun. Things are rolling. What's happening there in, say, even more, you got to get your act together here. They are restoring the Republic. That's not a joke. The Republic will be restored. The bankrupt thing that you've been pledged to is basically a dead man walking. It's basically pretty much been dissolved, and they're still scamming you with contracts that you think, because they're doing business. They're doing legal business. So you got to get out from under the horror of Babylon and get back over to the Republic and get back into the common law. And you got to know what the common law is, which is why I spend time reading the maxims. Oh, I've been having fun reading. Go type right. Go over there. Go get the legal maxims and type the word right or rights with an S on the end of it, and just read all the maxims that have to do with it. Should be pretty fun. Maybe I'll do that tonight, but it's already 8:30 and I'm about had it. Went to Costco today. They almost didn't let me in. Why didn't they let me in? And here's what they did. I'm going to have to run my own experiment now, because I don't know if you've seen the videos with these, but they gave me one of these, and they put it over steam, and then they take a magnifying glass or a high power, the kind, and look at it. And there seems to be little filaments crawling in there. I don't know if this is one of the ones or not, but I'll do the experiment. Maybe we'll even make a video about it. Okay, but anyway, you'll notice it's still in the bag and unused, because that's just the kind of guy I am. Anyway, seeing how I went inside, yeah. Oh wait, costume change. Ah, jeez. Oh, did I mention it was real leather? I didn't call it macaroni. Anyway, this is how I showed up at Costco. And the lady that was there, I knew her. I've taught her kids math. It's a long story, but I mean, I've known these guys for like decades. Her children are now out of college, even. Anyway, so I did this. We'd scared everyone because, he didn't have a mask on. Ah! And they're like, oh, you're going to get us in trouble. Oh, no. And so while they were temporarily distracted, she said, take that off and put this on. And I just kept walking. And then while I was in Costco, I had several people come up to me and real leather, by the way. This is not leather. This is real leather. They wanted to take pictures. Several people asked me where I got it. They all know me in Costco anyway, so they're like, "Oh, you got a new mask." Because I had the other one, but the other one was made out of latex and it broke like instantly. So anyway, that's how I went into Costco. And see, that's why I have hat hair on top of everything else. Like and subscribe. But anyway, the point being is that I had a fun time in Costco. See, you gotta turn that frown upside down. Right? Little children were laughing and saying, pointing and so on. Right? Yep. 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 This is not experimentation. They know what they're doing. It's called extermination. It's not experimentation. It's extermination. And you are absolutely correct. You can't tell these muggles a thing. So what you want to be is immune. I can find no facts or evidence that the living man is not immune to the codes and statutes of private corporations absent contract. Because you are not immune if you have a contract. But absent contract, McDonald's not can tell you nothing. Taco Bell not can tell you nothing because you know work there. They cannot tell you show up at work because you know work there. But when they tell you show up at their work, you show up because you think that's caught. That's not caught. I mean, it is caught, but that's not caught. That caught no apply to you unless you go down there and you tell them apply to you because you answer to the name. See, you don't want a name. I'm breaking into the pidgin English because it's Saturday night and I should be drinking with the boys, but that's all over for a few decades. Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't drink anymore. Don't smoke anymore. Used to be all cool smoking my Cools, Camels. Anyway, that's all in the past too. That was hard to put down, I have to say. All right, what was I doing? I was babbling about the Black's Law, this silly word known as right. All right, so you need to read all of that about rights of relief, rights of representation and performance, right to redeem, right to begin, right patent, rights of things, petition of rights, see petition, rights of search. Now, here's the thing. Your rights often will inflict duty upon others, especially if those others have sworn an oath to protect and uphold your rights via those documents called the Constitution. They never give you nothing. Those constitutions do not do anything other than secure your rights. They don't give you nothing. You already have them. For those of you that came late, I started off this thing saying, because it's Saturday, your rights came from God Almighty. They didn't come from another man. They didn't come from your mommy and daddy. They came from God, given to you by God. You can't give them away. You can't, even if you want to give them away, you can't give them away. They're not yours. Now, if you're a dumbass and you sign contracts that waive certain rights, well, but you still have the right, because guess what? You waive the right by contract. So all you got to do is void the contract and you restore the right. White is hard. And all contracts that you've been entered into pretty much are voidable if they're the ones we're talking about with the birth certificate. Now, if you've been in the military and it's UCMJ and you're an adult person, and if you signed 3 times to get into special forces or whatever the hell it is, they make you sign not once, not twice, but 3. The first one is just regular old UCMJ, you're the regular guy. But if you want to go up, you want to get into certain things, you got to sign how many times? 3 times. Anyway, and you are not considered to be incompetent when you sign. All right. When you're under the age of majority, and there's another word you need to look up, majority and minority, 2 words that you need to know well. But when you are a minor, my son can't even go get a notary, because he's not allowed until he turns the age of 18, majority. He is not allowed to. He can go sign and get a state ID, but even then, that is a voidable contract because he's still 16. All right, because go back and read Contract Law for Dummies. And that, like I said, that should be the beginning of your understanding of contract law, not the end of it. Anyhow, if you go read Contract Law for Dummies, right there, it's plain as day that minors can only enter into voidable contracts. And then you got to know what kind of contracts are there. There's enforceable, unenforceable, voidable, non-voidable, right? Absolute. Just like trust. Anybody that tells you they know about trust, I used to teach trust law so that these guys could pass the securities test so that they could, right? I don't know everything about trust. There's all kind of trust. Every time I turn around, I find out about a new kind of trust as I'm doing this research. Constructive trust. Now, see, equity will not allow a trust to fail for lack of a trustee. It will become a constructive trust. So when you fire those guys, the trust doesn't fail. You just got rid of the guys that are scamming you. And what are you doing? You're revoking their power of attorney. And I can find no facts or evidence that says that I do not have the right, the absolute right, to revoke my power of attorney from anyone at any time. If I am wrong, correct me. You got 30 days. It's a lie. I'm going to tell you twice more, but right? And then I've done tell you 3 times, and you've seasoned up 1 season. How long is a season? 90 days. 4 seasons in a year. Today would be a great day to start your seasoning, but you didn't mail your stuff in. But this is May 1. And see, today, what's happening? Silver. You want to talk about silver? Want to talk about coins? I'm going to say Theta one more time. I told you about Theta when it was 65 cents. It's floating around $11 now. Bix, go over to Bix Weir's Road to Ruta and just have a fun time. Oh, and by the way, thanks for the likes and so on. But yeah, like and subscribe. And this is the other thing. The word is the FDA never gave approval. They gave authorization to use in case of emergency. But if you go look at the in case of emergency, that says when there is no other effective treatment. There are other effective treatments. almost says, see, I have a trouble here if I mention certain things. Although it's becoming very clear that ivermectin and a few other things are very effective treatments. So why the need for the emergency authorization? So if you're suing governors or mayors or whoever else mandated or had this whole thing, you might ask for facts and evidence. Yo, Baga, I stay making video.
Okay, have fun.
Okay, go watch my video then.
Okay.
I stay on top of YouTube.
YouTube, okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. So rudely interrupted. And nobody ever calls me. Except for when I make videos, it seems. Okay. Oh. I sure wish this was more of a me just being a jerk, but no. Really. Get this book. Get it. Order this book and read it. You're going to need it. Not one of you is not going to be exposed to this in the next 3 years. Not one of you. You're going to know somebody. You're going to know somebody close to you. Just like this, like mother, sister, sons, daughters. Can tell them nothing. Can't tell them nothing. Because here's the thing. I'm an asshole. Make no mistake. But I wouldn't have killed these people. Right? I mean, there's a guy, I hate this motherfucker. I hate this motherfucker. I hate this motherfucker. And angry and drunk, I might kill him. But when I'm sober and I'm now always sober, because like I said, I don't drink anymore. Used to be I'd follow that up with or any less, but I don't drink anymore. It's April. I haven't had a drink this whole year. Not even a beer. Just why? I mean, last year I probably had 4 or 5 drinks. If somebody offers me a beer and it's being social, I'm not gonna be a jackass and be like, no, because I'm not an alcoholic, right? It's not like I have one beer and I have to stop. I got to go back to drinking. I mean, no, I just feel better when I don't drink. Anyway, point being is that when you're drunk and angry and stupid, you might kill somebody. But sober, I never in a million years, if somebody would have handed me the needle, I never would have put it in any of these motherfuckers. Not one. And most of these dumbasses, not once, but twice. I mean, some of them 3 times. And then some of them sick to death the 2nd time and still went back the 3rd time. Some of them wised up, though. And they found, if you start looking at some of the stories out there, after the 1st time, they're like, I ain't going to get another one of those. I have one friend. Actually, I have multiple friends work for the county here on Maui. And the county was really pushing hard to make sure everybody did the thing. He refused. Okay. He shows up to work on Monday morning, I believe it was. Or it might have been Tuesday morning. Anyway, and he's like the only one in the office because everybody else called in sick because they're all sick from getting, not the first one, but it's the 2nd one that made them all sick. Is my friend lying to me? I heard it again from another woman that works down there. That, yeah, she was also, fuck that, I'm not doing that. And then she shows up at work and nobody else in her office showed up. Only her. Both of them said I was happy because they got all kind of work done and nobody to bother them and so forth. But I mean, okay, that's just anecdotal evidence. That's anecdotal evidence. Entire offices. The one guy's office is a big office. There's a lot of guys in there. I don't know how many, but it's not just 4 or 5. It's like 20 or 30. And the one chick, that one is like, I'm going to say, I don't know how many's in Lori's office, 8 or 10, maybe. And she the boss. And nobody fucking else showed up to work. And you're absolutely 100% correct. Can't tell them nothing. Yep, I saw that my own self. Little 2-year-old, little tiny babies right? We suing the fuck out of Costco. Well, I mean, we got to sue the fuck out of Costco. They have no right. They have no right. And yes, it's a private club. And yes, they can tell you, but they cannot operate outside the Constitution inside the United States. we're suing the fuck out of these people. I know. This is the thing. Get your paperwork in order and you will have standing to go and point at them and complain. You don't want standing, can't sue. Now, it gets complicated, but because Costco is, right, the living man cannot sue Costco because that is a fictional entity and like must go with like. This is basic maxims. All right, so you must, but you're going to make it clear that your legal fiction, whichever one you choose, probably the one in your social security number, is the one, or whatever the name is that they have on the trade or business name, which, by the way, is not you. Right? You are that. You are, but you don't have a name. And a girl has no name. That was all over. As soon as I saw that in Game of Thrones, I was just like, they're telling you. Girls and boys have no names. They are called. And in other languages, how are you called? Not what's your name. And you think it doesn't matter. That's the best part. Anyway, yeah, trespassing. Because they can. It's a private store. It's a private club. They set the rules. Now, here's the thing. No corporation that has a business license or is licensed to do business in the United States may make policy or law contrary to the Constitution for the United States. It's that easy. Okay, first step, notice. Second step, ask for facts or evidence, or ask them to make you aware. And then you might give them some notice wherein you cite various cases. But the living man is going to write Costco a little note and say, you're going to tell me what kind of mask I can wear now? You're going to tell me what kind of apparel I have to be wearing to enter your private club. So do I have to wear a green shirt with Costco on the corner before you let me in? Do I have to show an ID to go into Costco? You racist bastard! You're making me show ID? Yeah, I got to have a Costco card. Anyway, I was having fun with rights. Let's see here. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, when you read the definitions in Black's Law, compare them to Anderson's. This is 4th edition. Compare them to 10th edition, and then compare them to Bouvier's. It's much easier than in a library with like actual books laying about than it is online. Trust me, if you've never done research, having actual books is better and faster. But the nice thing about having it this way is that you can search rights, and then you can go all over the dictionary, all the words that have or reference the word rights, one after another instantaneously. That's a nice thing to have. Like, oh, let's do it, in fact, just for fun. So I'm using the search function, and I'm putting in RIGHTS. Okay. And we're going to search. Wow. So it's counting how many times it shows up in this 1956-page document. Can you hear my processor going? We're up to 750, 800, 913. So basically, rights is mentioned on almost every single page of this book. 956 times it is mentioned. Or wait, sorry, 966. Of course it is. 966 times rights is mentioned in Black's Law, 4th edition. All right, so here's a few of them. I'm just going to click through. Rights may be described as perfect or imperfect. Oh, wait, didn't I just talk about that? According to their action or scope is, according as their action or scope is clear, settled, and determinate, or is vague and unfixed. So once again, you're going to use documents to perfect your rights so that it's not vague, so that it's not unfixed, so that it's not indeterminate, so that you know and are able to declare them, claim them, and let them know that you have certain rights and that you ain't standing for them infringing or abrogating your rights by contract or by statute or code or rules or orders. Let's see here. Let's continue on here. Rights are either in personam or in rem. Okay, this is important too. You got to know in rem, INREM, in rem, or in personam. All right, and personam is PERSONAM, personam. Right in personam is one which imposes an obligation on a definite person. That's what I was talking about also earlier. A right in rem is one which imposes an obligation on persons generally. One, either on all the world or on all the world except certain determinate persons. Thus, if I am entitled to exclude all persons from a given piece of land, I have right in rem in respect to that land. And if there are one or more persons, A, B, and C, whom I am not entitled to exclude from it, my right is still a right in rem. Sweet. All right. So it literally says sweet. So again, see, it gives you examples. It makes it click, right? So reading the dictionary, it may not be as silly as it seems. So now when you see the word rights, you see, okay, how they do this whole thing is what's called, and you've heard me mention it before, is, all right, what's the exact term? The exact term is when you use language, wow, am I blanking it? No, I'm not. I'm just trying to, okay. It's connotative linguistics is the proper term. But by connoting certain words, like United States, to the slave, that connotes United States of America, even though there's no America. They just hear United States. And even though United States is in all caps, you just assume, because you're under the spell, that it means United States of America. It do not. You assume U.S. persons means we the people of the republic. U.S. persons are the last thing we are that we the people are. We the people set up these constitutions to secure our rights and to give these guys the ability to do the legal business that we don't want to do. Okay, so holy cow, 11 o'clock. Or 11 people at 9 o'clock at night in Hawaii. On the East Coast, it's 3 in the morning. I'm going to assume you guys are in California. Even then, it's midnight. Okay. Let's go back to this. Rights also may be described as either primary or secondary. Primary rights are those which can be created without reference to rights already existing. Secondary rights can only arise from purpose or for the purpose of protecting or enforcing primary rights. They're either preventive, protective, or remedial. Reparative. Again, sweet. All right, so let's get into it. Preventive or protective secondary rights exist in order to prevent the infringement or loss of primary rights. Now you might see why I'm reading this to you. They are judicial when they require the assistance of a court of law for either enforcement or extrajudicial, extrajudicial. I'm not going to speak English. And extrajudicial when they are. Right, it's empty. I'm gonna get some water. Hold on a second. My mouth is just. Delicious, delicious, delicious. Liberal cheers. So good. Okay. Let's see here. Preventive or protective secondary rights exist in order to prevent the infringement or loss of primary rights. They are judicial when they require the assistance of a court of law for their enforcement, and extrajudicial. See, look, it's lubricated. When they are capable of being exercised by the party himself. So extrajudicial means you can do it without the court. There's a lot of stuff you can do without the court. And there are some things where, in fact, you do need the court to help you out. Patrick Devine sometimes gets this concept a little confused in his dart throwing. So not everything requires a judge or a court. Some of it just requires notice. And this is the other thing. Judicial notice, just make sure you give notice. Legislative notice and administrative notice. I have documents where I gave, it's the same document, and I put for all three because I didn't want to write a new document for the court, a new document for the legislature, and a new document for the administrative, which would be the courts, right? So you think, but even in the courts over here, the administrative, you're going to give them judicial notice because they consider themselves judges, right? They call themselves judges. Anyway, so judicial notice, administrative notice, and legislative notice. Administrative notice is also like your attorney general, your secretary of state, everybody in the administration of the in the governor's office and so forth. Then there's the anyway. So you give notice, and what you're doing is perfecting your God-given rights, and the way you perfect them is to declare and claim them. I do declare. There are judicial. Wait a minute. I just went through that. Okay. Remedial or reparative secondary rights are also either judicial or extrajudicial. They may further be divided into rights of restitution or restoration, and that's what you're doing, is you're going to restore your estate, which entitle, I have no facts or evidence that you, state, whoever it is you're writing to, state of Hawaii, Maui Family Court, the court of the secretary, whoever you are, that you have the right to administer my estate absent contract. If you claim this right, please provide the contract or obligation upon which you rely. Or words to that effect. I said, make up your own words. Right? But you won't be able to make up your own words if you don't know what you're talking about, because you can't do jurisdiction because you don't know what, you cannot speak law if you don't know what the freaking words mean. Okay. Let's see here. So rights of restitution or restoration, which entitle the person injured to be replaced to his original position. Restitutio integrum. Look that word up, that Latin phrase, which means to be restored to the original condition. Okay, rights of enforcement, which entitle the person injured to the performance of an act by the person bound. 3. You be the person bound, by the way, most of the time. However, you can bind them to their oath, and then they have to uphold and support the Constitution, but you got to accept their oath. Rights of satisfaction or compensation is 3. Okay, so with respect to the ownership of objects of property, rights may be classed as absolute and qualified. See, look, and notice how everything's split into, right? Absolute and qualified. An absolute right gives the person to whom it inheres the uncontrolled dominion over the object at all times and for all. Sorry, gotta scroll up. And all purposes. A qualified right gives the possessor a right to the object for certain purposes or under certain circumstances only, such as the right of a bailee to recover the article bailed when it has been unlawfully taken from him by a stranger. So are they talking about a bailiff, or are they talking about the term bailee and bailed, and there's another word you need to look up, B-A-I-L-E-E. I know what a bailee is. All right. Rights are also either legal or equitable. See, and that's what I mean. When you're studying this stuff, when you're reading the definitions, you got to know what the words in the definitions mean. And you're going to see 966 times where the word rights comes up in other words as part of the definition for other words. So you better know what they're referring to, because rights, there's a lot to it, as it turns out. Okay, rights are also either legal or equitable. Right? Law and equity. And so I went over a little bit of equity, and see, these are another, again, equitable, and equity is a big concept all by itself that you need to understand, because there is a difference between equity and law. So anyway, rights are also either legal or equitable. The former is the case where the person seeking to enforce the right for his own benefit has the legal title and a remedy at law. Notice the term at law, not in law, not of law. The latter are such as are enforceable only in equity, as at the suit of Sedeke Twest. Twest? At the suit of Sedeke Trust. And it's spelled there Cestuique. And notice how they use it so casually. Most people don't know that they have a Sedeke Trust. They don't know anything about the year 1666, when Sedeke trusts were set up for all humans on this planet, whether you wanted one or not. That comes under the A, law. Let's get rid of that. Land, air, water, common law, ecclesiastical law, admiralty law. Okay. Now we come down to constitutional law. There is also a classification of rights which with respect to the constitution of civil society. Thus, according to Blackstone, the rights of persons considered in their natural capacities are of two sorts: absolute and relative. Absolute, which are such as appertain, I love that word, appertain and belong to particular men merely as individuals or single persons. Relative, which are incident to them as members of society and standing in various relation to each other. And then there's a quote there, or a cite there. But let's go back to this. First off, go look up appertain if you don't know what that means, just for fun. And then go use appertain in a sentence with your children just for fun. And that's the other thing. Some of these words, try to use them in sentences that you may or may not write to certain people. But I mean, that's how you start figuring out what the words mean and how to use them correctly. Let's see here. Rights are also classified in constitutional law as natural, civil, and political. You are claiming all of them. To which there is sometimes added the class of personal rights. You're claiming those too. Right? You are not waiving any right. Never have, never intended to, was never your intention, never signed anything that you thought was waiving your rights. You thought you were noticing the world most of the time, or you thought you were doing this because that was what was required of you, except for the part where your right to locomotion is absolute. I was going to say more, but I decided to censor myself there. But anyway, rights are also qualified in constitutional law as natural, civil, and political, which there is sometimes added to the class of personal rights. Natural rights are those which, are you going to go read these yourself? Yes, you are. Natural rights are those which grow out of the nature of man and depend upon personality, as distinguished from such as are created by law and depend upon civilized society. That's why custom trumps all. And if you go back and read your maxims, you'll see that they nod to custom. But absent custom, the written law. Okay. Because most of the time, we know what to do. We know the difference between right and wrong. And see, this is the thing. The fact that you're a living man or woman, depending on who you are, a man with a womb or a man listening to this, that should be self-evident. And that's why it says in the beginning of the documents, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Except for the fact that they dumbed you down so far, you don't know what fucking truths or rights they're talking about. And when I say you, I mean me. Yeah, see? What the hell are you doing up? Go on. Yeah. I mean, holy crap. I know it's Saturday night and everything, but gee whiz, it's a little late. And holy crap, are you guys nerds or what? Anyway, let's go listen to 100 Monkey talk about rights. Okay. But yeah, as I was bawling out my girlfriend at one point, brah, you guys got nothing better to do right now. Shit is coming down around your ears. The fucking barn is on fire. And you guys are still watching TV and haven't figured out how to work one of these things, what words to use and who to say them to. I currently live in a huge and beautiful open air prison called Maui. I have no driver's license because it expired, because I'm making the point that I got no contract with you motherfuckers. I got no passport because it expired, because I got no contract with you motherfuckers. And that contract was fraudulent to begin with, because I thought it meant one thing and indeed it meant another. And I know you were getting duped light out of it, and I know you were chuckling, and I forgive you, but no more. Now we change it to what it's supposed to say and how it's supposed to be. And you're going to recognize the fact. Or you're going to kill me. Liberty or death. Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. If you kill me, I win this simulation, motherfuckers. And they all know it. So they ain't killing me. And that's the one thing they got on every single one of you, is you afraid to die. Because you think you're here one time. Because you believe the lies of the lying liars who worship fucking Satan. And that's crazy talk. But I'm sorry. If they on the TVs, if they on the YouTube, well, okay, maybe not the YouTubes, but on the TVs, a lot of the guys on the YouTubes, they on the radios, they on the Sirius, they on the satellite, they ain't on any of that fucking technology unless they in the club, because they ain't going to use that technology to say a fucking thing that they don't want you to hear, ever, as long as you live. I had a friend that had a pirate radio station. They hunted that motherfucker down. And he used to move it around. This was in Oregon. He used to move his transmitter from place to place because they would triangulate and figure out where the transmitter was. Like, they are dead serious. Right? Pirate radio is a thing, but it's not a thing. Right? Because anyway, it's a long story. But long story short, they don't want you hearing or seeing anything that they don't want you to hear or see. And then it comes with entrainment. You want to find out about some scary shit, go find out about entrainment. And then you will probably stop watching a lot of the programming, because it's fucking there. It's not conspiracy theory. It's a thing. It's called entrainment. Find out about it. First place to go look is Catherine Austin Fitts. Go search. Google will probably show you. But don't use Google. But Catherine Austin Fitts entrainment. It'll show up on the Solar Report. One of the videos there. And then anyway, she did a lot of research on it. But she's not the only one, and there are many others. And that would be, like I said, start there, begin there. And then once you figure out how powerful it is, now you see how powerful it is. They have been entrained to do this, to believe them, to believe in authority, to surrender their will, to surrender, right? It works. It fucking works. Why do you think they gave us this technology in the first fucking place? Because they like us? You know how much technology they're holding back? So why do we get this technology? Should never have to plug your car in or fill it up with gas, ever. We've had that technology for fucking centuries. That's crazy talk, I know. But you're about to find out that, yeah, this whole show ain't what you thought it was. It has not been a one-way street of ascension. Anyway. Okay. Where I was before I so interrupted rudely myself. Let's see here. We're going on about, I was blathering on about rights. You know, those silly things that they take from you and then license back to you and then beat you over the head with because you don't know how to stand up for your rights. I can assure you now, I'm at the point where they leave me the fuck alone. Not yet. I mean, I'm not 100%. I'm blacklisted. I'm not greenlisted. I want to be greenlisted. I'm in the process of getting greenlisted, but I'm already at the point where they pretty much Don't mess with them. It's a small island. One of my friends is a sergeant in the sheriff's. Another one. Anyway, I know these guys. I went to school with these guys. I grew up with these guys. They know, oh, fuck, Ben figured it out. Simple as that. And now one of them knows I'm a little pissed that he didn't tell me. Right? Motherfucker. I changed his grades when he was in fucking 3rd grade. So that he wouldn't get yelled at by his grandmother. And then he didn't fucking tell me? Anyway. And I know where he lives. I know where they all live. So that's why you don't want to be blacklisted, because then they're worried that you're going to come in, because they've done naughty things for fucking pretty much their whole careers. So then they get scared that you're going to try and no. This book over here, this one right here. I don't gotta worry about and it's so clear that I don't have to worry about revenge. Like karma is, I'll use the C word for karma. I mean, she is holy crap. Because like I said, a lot of these motherfuckers, I would beat them down in a bar if I got mad and angry. But as a sober man, never would have injected them. Never would have injected them, because I know what that's going to do to them. He said, all revenge mine. You don't got to worry about that. I'm hating it because there's some other people that I have had really bad thoughts about for a long time. And now I realize they really are going to die. Through their own smugglance and ignorance. My prediction is in the fall, the next time these people who have had 1, 2, or 3, the next time they're exposed to any fucking thing, it's going to kill them, because they're going to have a cytokine storm. They're going to have a storm that overreacts. They've programmed the immune system to overreact. What they're going to tell you is a new variant was deadly, and actually they've already told you this. Should I go? Actually, you guys right here. How much guys here? 9 people here. You guys can do research. Go out there and go find and post over here for your friends and relations the articles and the things where certain people go like this, and they tell you that they're expecting 60 to 70% of mortality in the next variant or wave. What they're actually saying, translation, is we have now gotten quite a few of you, and think about this. There are those that have gotten 73, 78, the millennials. I mean, every year they went and got shots. So getting another shot, just another shot. They didn't research those. They're not researching this one. And for the most part, they think they did okay. Maybe they got a little sick, but that just means it's working. It's working. Fuck. It hurts my feelings. But anyway, go out on the internets and come back and post over here. I'm telling you, there are certain people that have told you that there's going to be 60 to 70% in the next wave mortality. So are they lying to you now? Or are they actually telling you the truth? Are they just trying to scare you? Or is that actually going to turn out to be true? Well, you're going to die. Straight up. This is, what's the word? This is great. Go read the comments over here. Anyway, but the idea being is that they told you what's coming, and what's coming is coming. And believe it or not, they ran all the scenarios. I know this. I know this for a fact. They have super duper computers. One of them is driving distance right down there in Kihei. They have all these super duper computers. And oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, reality is reality, folks. Anyway, see ya. But the idea being is that that's what's coming. That's what's coming is what's coming. And there is no way around this, folks. They ran the scenarios. over and over again, and the scenario with the best results. Okay, those are the words I'm going to use. The best results is this scenario, the one we're in right now. And this scenario, as far as I'm concerned, sucks ass. Because I know many, many, many people who aren't just fucking around that actually did go out and get shot after shot. Stop it. Anyway, because they're just that mind washed. It's crazy, like crazy, crazy. And I already have one friend dead. I didn't know anybody that died from the Rona, but I already know one friend that. Anyway, and always dumbass. So every time we talk on the phone, he'd be like, "Orange Man's going down." Well, the only one that went down was him. Because the fact that I can point out the clear fact. Remember, I'm sitting here in Hawaii. It's 9:30. What time is it on the East Coast? Yeah. So when they flipped all that thing in the middle of the night, it wasn't the middle of the night for me. I was watching the thing, and like one state after another, within like 3 minutes, bam, 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 from red to blue. Can't even do that much, huh? Okay. So anyway, them people that couldn't figure that out and anyway, they ran all the scenarios, and apparently this is the best scenario. This is the one with the most advancement. This way, you and I don't have to do anything, literally, because I know a lot of you guys are going to get all bangy bangy. You don't have to do bangy bangy because they did jabby jabby. So since they went jabby jabby, you don't have to do bangy bangy because they ain't going to be any of those guys to shoot at, and those weren't the right guys to shoot at in the first fucking place. Now, I will make this prediction. Not yet. But I'll make this prediction. Yeah, not yet. The ones who realize what's been done to them and that it is terminal and that there's nothing they can do about it to reverse it after the third, just like in the vampire movies, and their husbands or wives, depending, may in fact, and most 95% of them will just go quietly into the night. But 5% of them, I predict 3 to 5%, will not go quietly into the night. And they will take vengeance on, even though this book says not to, they will take vengeance on the people that did that to them. And they will feel justified. And I'm going to sit back and watch, and I can't blame them. And I certainly will not persecute or prosecute or anything. Them people taking vengeance on people that destroyed their ability to reproduce or killed themselves or killed them or killed their loved ones. Or when they figure out that, that's what killed grandma, or that's what killed my daughter, or that's what killed my sister. And now I'm got it too. And right, you watch. Karma is fair, but at the same time. So if it's 100 million, like I'm predicting, and what they're trying to say, they haven't given out 100 million shots. They just want to pretend, but it's ridiculous. They've given out 70. They've given out 75, maybe 80. They're working on 100. But see, what's happened is a lot of people have figured it out, and a lot of women are spreading the alarm. See, the Western woman, this was a prophecy that the Western woman would save civilization. Right? So the reason why she saves civilization is because every 28 days, she will be giving a warning about what this thing did to her and her entrails. I have seen groups now, and they get deleted. Right? There was one, it was Alex Jones. All right. Alex Jones, are you fucking kidding me? Okay, there's a gatekeeper. But at the same time, Alex is, can he say I told you so? Can he say, yes, he does it almost every fucking show that I've watched lately. It's like, did I not tell you this for the last fucking 30 years, that this is where they were going? Here we are. Because AJ is notice. Controlled notice, but notice nonetheless. You might pay attention every once in a while when he's telling you, and he sensationalizes it and so forth. But I mean, AJ is notice. So anyway, AJ, whether it was AJ or not, they were doing screenshots from Instagram and Facebook, and of course they got deleted from Instagram and Facebook. But they had saved the things, right, and scrolled, because certain women had made certain comments, and then they received many, many comments about their experiences, and they're all the same, and they're all horrible, and you can't talk about them here on YouTube's, or you'll get deleted. And this video may get deleted as it is. But the idea being is that they're trying to spread the alarm, and they're being censored. And now they're really getting concerned. But if you go back and read some of the scrolls, because they just go really quick through all of them, like showing that, oh, look, all these people chimed in with their experiences. Stop the video and read, and you will go, oh, fuck. Right? I mean, you will literally go, oh, fuck. This is where we are. And still, ain't no rebellion going on. So you better get your paperwork in. You better let them know you're immune. You better let them know that those codes and statutes may or may not apply to you. And if you're saying that they are, then you need to provide obligation or contract that says that you are. And if you provide fraudulent obligation or contract wherein I wasn't given full disclosure, or where it turns out to be fraudulent conveyance of language, or where fraudulent concealment was involved, or where outright fraud was involved, or where misrepresentation was involved, or where, name it, violations of their own code or violations of your constitutional rights by this and that conduct was involved. Therefore, fraud and deceit vitiates contract. Agreement and non-disclosure also vitiates contracts. What does that vitiate word mean? You better get your paperwork in. Just saying. You better let them know, or they will act on you. Okay. But here, that's my prediction. My prediction is a small percentage. And that small percentage, let's do math. Let's say 100 million. We keep the number super easy. 5%. 100 million. Is 5 million. 5 million is a lot. Okay. So those 5 million pissed off, nothing to lose because they're going to die. That's the army you don't want to face. Is the army that's not afraid to die. Or the army that's the army you don't want to face. Even in ancient times, Sun Tzu, a lot of these people, they talk about different, right? Where these fanatics, they just weren't afraid to die. And even though they were hit with, an opposing force that was greater than theirs, the guys that were fighting that might have been conscripted or didn't have the belief, or they weren't fighting for their homeland and their women and so forth, they would often break and run from men that absolutely had nothing left to lose and weren't afraid to die. Okay. There's only thousands of quote unquote them, and millions of pissed off terminal people. That's what I see. I don't know what you guys see, but I see that coming like a bat out of hell. I remember previous to this last thing going on, this Farmageddon that we have happening, a lot of us were saying we can feel something big coming. Something's coming. You could feel it. Okay. I thought it was going to be something different than this. Let's just put it that way. Because this is terrible. This is beyond terrible. But this was the best scenario. Because once again, like I said, if you believe, and I am a person of strange beliefs, and you do not have to believe the way I believe by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm a person that had always been, from the time I was a little boy, exposed to the concept that you ain't here but ever and ever. That's the good news. The good news is you're here forever and ever and ever. Here you are again. They gave me, anyway, this instruction. And it came with understanding, I'm going to use your term, my name. And that I didn't get my name by accident, the same way my son, my firstborn son, did not get his name by accident. I prayed and thought and meditated for hours, months, literally, when I found out that it was. I mean, and at the time, I didn't know. It was that was one of the rare surprises in life. We did not go get a test. We didn't know until such time as he came out of the chute whether it was going to be a boy or a girl. We didn't know the day that child was born. Both times, we didn't want to know. But if the child was born a male, I had a name. And if the child was born a female, I had a name. And by the way, males and females, those are animals. Boys and girls, sons and daughters, those are the children, man-childs of men and women. Children, that's a legal term, believe it or not. You don't have children, you have sons and daughters, or sons or daughters. And some of you got sons and daughters are so fucking confused, they don't know where to pee. But, and that's what they do. That's what they tell you inside here, the guy is a liar. That's what he do. That's all he know how to do. He's the best at it. That's what he do. He's the grand deceiver, the greatest of all the deceivers. And he has deceived your friends. Not all of them, but enough of them that they'll actually kill themselves. Because they are deceived. Illusion. These are master illusionists. They have control of the mind. They use entrainment and techniques that you are not familiar with. Neuro-linguistic programming. You should know something about that. Entrainment, all the butterfly effects and all the little tiny inputs they put in where you watch the whole show and there's only one thing they wanted to give you in that whole show. 30 minutes and it's just one thing. But see, it's not just that one thing. Just like it's not the 5-cent stamp on one document. It's the 5-cent stamp on millions of documents. Anyway, they know what they're doing. Right? They fucking know what they're doing. And they got, as you can see, I can see just in that one comment, they got the mind. And it's been a recurring theme here. If they got the mind, no need tattoo, no need collar. Right? Because once they got your mind, you'll go down and do whatever they tell you. Will you believe a guy that does math? Fuck no, you won't believe a guy that does math. Will you believe the guy that sells you the product? Yep. Okay. No more, I can't feel sorry for you. Right? I am sick. I have a feeling in my stomach that is, you know that feeling. If any of you have gotten a phone call where they tell you so-and-so and this is how it happened, and you know that feeling in your gut. I've gotten too many of those calls. Many, many, many of those calls. So-and-so just, and then friends that, were stupid enough to, anyway, believe the lies and go serve, and they're all gone, and the other guys are still there. Anyway, that's the feeling I have in my stomach because I've been scrolling on the Facebooks. I've been scrolling in other places and I see many people that I know I know their children. I know their names. I can drive to their fucking houses. I know them. I played with their animals. I just got it. I just got my second one. My passport card's full. I got all 3. This many years, that many. So as gently as possible, you might want to tell these people that they need to fucking get their acts together. They need to get their affairs in order. Who gets the house? Who's going to take care of the kids? And they're not kids. Who's going to take care of their sons and daughters? Straight up. Nobody likes to talk about these things. Till the day my mother died, she didn't want to talk about these things. See, I was happy. I was in the room when my mother died. They've made it so that a lot of people who want to be in the room when their parents are passing cannot be in the room when their parents are passing because of this bullshit. Still no slave uprising. Still people not filling out their paperwork. Still people not making declarations. Don't expect it. It ain't coming. If it hasn't come by now, it ain't gonna. But except for that 5% in 1 to 3 years. And they know it. Okay. Kind of depressing on a Saturday night. Maybe we should tell jokes. I'll sing. Anyway, wait, yeah. I have some just regular old notes over here. Okay. These numbers, you can go look. If you scroll up there, I put the library in there. These are the numbers of the maxims. I would go read this one and understand what it means. It talks about the unwritten law expressing tacit and ignorant consent. Go read it. Here's another fun one. Don't just go read it. Go read it and understand what the words mean. Not going to go there. I already talked about perfecting your rights. Oh, one thing, IRB stamp. Find out about that. What's an IRB stamp? I believe it's Institutional Review Board of approval. Anyway, find out about IRB stamps and the fact that none of this stuff has an IRB stamp. Because it's authorized. Find out, am I lying when I say there are companies, depending 6 months to 2 years from time of you void your life insurance policy if you die within that amount of time? 6 months to 2 years. Because there's a 2 year, it's called an exclusion clause. Equity does not aid a volunteer. And if you die because you took an experimental thing when there's a 99.9% chance you'll survive catching the thing in the first fucking place, and using the things that I wrote over here, those treatments are very, very effective. We probably would have saved about 100,000 people if they wouldn't have tried to demonize it. Here in Hawaii on TV, you could watch them. I am going to try and figure out how to do something about KITV saying that it was deadly and that you couldn't use it, and that and trying to scare people away from the one thing that we absolutely know made a huge difference in India, made a huge difference in a lot of third world nations, because they use it for treating malaria and a whole bunch of other stuff. And in some places, not even freaking prescription, you can buy it over the counter, and people were just using that. And lo and behold, their rates of their death rates were minuscule compared to the United States. But then it turns out they were putting people in nursing homes and stuff. Oh, that's going to come out. That's not going away. You know why? Because 15,000 to 20,000 people in those states all have sons and daughters and brothers and sisters who are pissed as can be that their loved one was put in a nursing home and killed. And they're not going to just go, oh, well, some of them are burning mad. So if you think that Cuomo and a couple of these other governors, that's one name that comes to mind, but also the beautiful bitch, what the fuck is her name? Whitmer, and shoot, I can't remember them all. Anyway, 5 of them. They ain't getting away with this. Just like they didn't get away. You don't put people away for thinking about doing a crime. You got to let them commit the crime. And they committed the crime. Does it turn out that the watermarks are a thing? Have you figured that out? That, yeah, the ultraviolet light and the watermarks. Oh, here's one other thing I have to figure out how to throw in here out of the blue. Speaking of water, for those of you that play with what shall I do? There you go. It's a letter of an alphabet. Certain letter in the alphabet. Anyway, for those of you that play with that that part of the alphabet, he told you watch the water, or they, or whatever that thing is. That has many, many, many meanings, and one of them, besides watermarks, and see, what is it? Roger Stone and a couple of other guys, they were like, "Yep, there's watermarks," and I was like, "Yeah, you're crazy. That's not true." And even AJ was saying, "Oh, blah blah blah," and turns out, yeah, there's watermarks, and also they used paper that when you fold it, like I just did here, this crease right there will show up using ultraviolet light. And there's no way that a document like this made it into the vote because there are no ballots that were sent like this. They were all sent like this, so they had to be folded. So if they're not folded, that right there is prima facie evidence, first in front of your face, that that document is not valid. Rumor has it that so far they found about 250,000 of those in this place called Maricopa, where, by the way, Maricopa, that county, where they count all the people in the county, that's what you are. They're counting. That's why they call it a county. See, this prison is this plantation, it's not a prison. Like I said, this is a lovely open air prison, but I mean, it's not a prison. It's not really a prison. I just can't leave. Can check out anytime I want, though. Dear. Anyway, the point being is that over there in Maricopa, that's where Miranda was. That's where the whole Miranda thing and not being able to abrogate your rights by statute. That's in Miranda, and not being able, you have to read them their rights, and you got to kind of sort of let them know that they have a right to a lawyer and a right to this and that, and blah blah. You have to know your basic rights because most people don't even know their rights. So they have the Miranda thing where they have to read you your rights. But see, if you knew your rights, it wouldn't matter because you'd know this, wouldn't you? Slave. But because slave didn't know his rights, they had to make it a thing in the corporation in one of the corporate courts, wherein it became stare decisis. I guess it would be stare decisis, but where part of the res judicata of the concept of being told your rights because you're an ignorant slave that doesn't know your rights before they take your rights away is something that they have to do now. But anyway, Maricopa County is going to be the place where the dam breaks, where too many, they're going to put their fingers in the, and notice who do they send? They send those esquires, they send the bar guys, they send an army of bar guys, 70, 80, 90, 100 bar attorneys to try and shut that shit down. Those are the lawyers of the bar. Who does the bar represent? Did they represent us? Are they part of the United States Corporation? Or are they here to offer? Yeah, they're private. They're employees. They're members. They're brothers of a private corporation, brotherhood organization, who are sent to do the dirty work. That's why your FBI, your DOJ, all them bar attorneys, they're all infected. That whole thing is infected with bar attorneys, and they're not on our side. They turn, figure out who they are, figure out what the bar is. Kirk's Law Corner will tell you all about who the bar is. They're not our friends. They're not on our side. See, what's happened in the government is that just like in the days of yore, they have made all manner of offices, employees, agencies, agencies, agents of those agencies, employees, representatives, delegates, and other people that have taken an oath or are working in concert with those that have taken oaths, like the little girl that was in front of the courthouse. She hadn't sworn an oath. She wasn't an officer. She didn't have a position. She was a temp that was sitting there making sure that you either had a mask or she could read your temperature, but she didn't have an office. I asked her, and she's like, no, if you want somebody like that, I'd have to go inside and get them. Anyway, many myriad in departments from the Department of the Interior, the Environmental Protection Agency, created by Richard Nixon, so maybe you know whose side they're on and what they're doing. But all of those agencies are designed to extract wealth from you because you don't know your rights, and because you think you have contract, and because you think these people have authority, and because you think this is how it's always been. It's not always been like this. We threw them off for a little while, and they weaseled their way back. And the first time they did it, we actually took up arms. Actually, first 2, 3, 4 times they did it, we actually took up arms. This time we're so dumbed down and cowed that it's going to be a lot more before we finally take up arms. This time they're probably going to get about this many. There have been times when they've gotten this many. You just don't remember, and they didn't write it down in your history books. This is not the first time. This will not be the last time. They always, it was the plague. Oh, it was right? In Europe, the plague took out, in some places, entire villages. Left nothing, no one behind. We didn't know anything about it. In fact, you read the history books and they're going to tell you, we didn't even know about germs. We didn't know about anything back then. Really? You think that the guys that do the pharmacology, go look in Egypt, what is their penetration rate for this? The people of Egypt, who are the sons and daughters of a place still remember when that place was called Chem, where we get our word chemistry and where the pharmacology comes from pharma. The vaccine just said it out loud. How far in are we? 135. Well, I'm pretty confident there's no human from the tubes listening, but their AAI may pick that up. But anyway, they can't fucking speak English words in United States. In the United States of America, you still can, but over here in the United States, C 28 USC 1746, 1 or 2. You from now on will always sign 1, not 2, without, not within. Anyhow, those guys, their penetration rate over there in Egypt, 0.1%. They're not accepting the pharmacology because they know the mushroom cult. They know who these people were. They know them. You do not know them. You trust them. They advertise all over your TVs. They sponsor all your favorite shows. They put full page ads in all of your favorite magazines. So you think that, no problem. This company called, and go look up the origins of those names. The PZ one, the Astra one, the JJ one. Well, JJ, that's easy. And the other one, the M1. Go look them up. Go find out who these people are. They don't love you. They are not on your team. They are not here to do anything other than extract wealth and make money. They will never cure. They will always treat. And now they're involved in the final stroke, wherein the sheep cannot figure out that, they locked you in the barn, and now they're burning the barn down. The barn is on fire. I'm just sitting here telling you that the barn's on fire. And if you can't figure out that the barn's on fire, I don't know what to tell you. The barn's on fire. That's all I can say. Okay. Let us go back to blacks. See, and here's the thing. Between blacks and a collection of maxims, type in the word rights. And here, I'll do it over here too. Let's see, Control F. R-I-G-H-T. Let's see, the first one that comes up. An assignee acquires the rights of the assignor, 166. So that's me over here in the maxims. And then let's see here. We'll go back to the other one in just a second. No person can confirm a right before the right shall come to him. So see, you might want to know what the word right means. Now we're all the way at 394. Time runs against the slothful and those who neglect their rights. Time runs against the slothful and those that neglect their rights. That would be, I think they're talking to us. Might be talking to, are you talking to me? Because it sounds like you're talking to me. Let's see here. It is lawful for every man to repair his own house, provided he does it not to the injury of another over whom he has no rights. Interesting. Okay, so anyway, that's me searching rights in the maxims. Now let's go back over here to blacks. Now I put rights in and I got 966. Of course, it was 966 responses or times where rights shows up in Black's Law, 4th edition. And I think we got sandbagged when I got off on a tangent when we were talking about primary or secondary rights. Also preventive or protective rights. So anyway, go read them. Go read them about your rights, so you know all the different things. All right, so let's go and start fooling around with other definitions that have the word right in them. But it's going to take quite a while because there are so many times when we talked about that. I already read that. And we talked about absolute and relative rights, Declaration of Rights, Bill of Rights, marital rights, private rights. Wow, it just goes on and on and on. Because like I said, there's hundreds of them. All right, so all right. Scrutator. And in Old English law, a searcher or bailiff of a river or water bailiff whose business was to look to the king's rights as to his wrecks, his flotsam, jetsam, water strays, royal fisheries. Interesting. Ooh, interesting. Let's find out what this starts from. Sea laws. Interesting. All right. So, an officer in maritime towns and places who took care of the maritime rights. Oh, sea reeve is what this is, as opposed to the sheriff. Rights of the Lord and manor and watched the shore and collected wrecks for the Lord. Sea rovers, pirates, and robbers at sea. Anyway, all right, let's not get sidetracked here because I can start reading stuff that have it. All right, I'm just reading rights, where right shows up, and because we were already at R, everything that shows up next is going to be ST, right? Okay, let's see here. Securities, interesting. Evidence of debts or of property. Evidences of obligations to pay money or of rights to participate in earnings or distribution of corporate trust or other property. And then it has quotes there. So anyway, that's under the definition of securities, contains the word rights. Let's keep going. Let's see here. CEISIM. CEISIM. CEISIM? I'd have to go stick it into a Google search or something and get the correct pronunciation. But anyway, the completion of the feudal investiture by which the tenant was admitted into the feud and performed the rites of homage and fealty. That's a definition for that word there. Well, let's see here. Servitium regale, royal service or the rights and prerogatives of manors which belong to the kings as lord of the same, and which were generally reckoned to be 6. Like I said, just of interest, just fooling around on Saturday night, looking through the Black's Law dictionary for the term rights. Oh my, this goes on for days. All right. Severalty. The state of separation. An estate in severalty is one that is held by a person in his own right only, without any other person being joined or connected with him in point of interest during his estate therein. The term severalty is especially applied in England to the case of adjoining meadows undivided from each other, but belonging either permanently or in what are called shifting severalties to separate owners, and held in severalty until the crops have been carried when the whole is thrown open as pasture for the cattle of all owners, and in some cases for the cattle of other persons as well. Each owner is called a severalty owner, and his rights of pasture are called severalty rights, as opposed to the rights of persons, not owners. Okay. I did not know that. Let us continue on to something else. Share of corporate stock, a proportional part of certain rights in the management and profits of a corporation during its existence and in the assets upon dissolution. All right, this is getting boring. But the idea, my friends, is that you take the word, whatever word it is you're learning, or whatever word, like equity and equitable, and go see how it's used in sentences and definitions for other words. And I could do this all night. I mean, because like I said, there's 966 of them. We didn't cover not even 100 of them. So it shows up repeatedly. The word right is kind of important, and rights also kind of important. Yeah, see, I'm not going to read these. Surplusage or surplusage. Ooh, sovereign right. All right, let's read that one. A right where the state alone or some of its governmental agencies can possess. What? Hold on a second here. Sovereign right, a right which the state alone or in some of its governmental agencies can possess, and which it possesses in the character of a sovereign for the common benefit and to enable it to carry out its proper functions, distinguished from such proprietary rights, which is in quotations, as a state, like any private person may have in property or demands which it owns. See St. Paul v. Chicago. All right. Interesting. Sovereign right. So like I said, go look them up. Go look up the words. Should be fun. Soaming and roaming. In Scottish law, I'm just going to read this because it's interesting. In Scottish law, terms used to express the form by which the number of cattle brought upon a common by those having a servitude of pasturage may be justly proportioned to the rights of the different persons possessed of the servitude. Soaming and roaming. Okay. Probably didn't need to know that, but why not? Let's see here. Uh-oh. Stale in demand or claim. A demand or claim that has long remained unasserted, one that is first asserted after an unexplained delay, which is so long as to render it difficult or impossible for the court to ascertain the truth of the matters in controversy and to do justice between the parties, or as to create a presumption against the existence or validity of the claim, or presumption that the claim has been abandoned or satisfied. See, that might give you a clue right there that because it's been decades since you were supposed to make certain claims, they assume that you abandoned them. They assume that you're still their ward. You never told them different. How would they know? In fact, not only do you not tell them different, like me, you probably signed some stuff that said you was U.S. person. Or you is U.S. person. You is not U.S. person. Let's see here. It implies a greater lapse of time than is necessary to laches. See, there's laches. Need to know what that is. So go look that up. The doctrine is purely an equitable one. See, now the legalese starts to make sense. Now the definitions start when you start learning. Oh, what does equitable mean? What does equity mean? Doctrine. All these different words there. Anyway, the doctrine is purely an equitable one, which means it's not a legal one. And arises only when, from lapse of time and laches of plaintiff, it would be inequitable to allow a party to enforce his legal rights. So see, if I don't think I need to explain that to you, but the bottom line is they are saying that even if it's because of equity, even if it's been a long time and so on, even though it's a large lapse of time has happened, it would be inequitable to allow a party to enforce his legal rights. In other words, because it's been so long, it would be equitable for the person to, I don't know, I can't even think of an example where that would be correct or where that would happen. In Hawaii, for example, if you don't, if you have a piece of property and there's a right-of-way there and you don't close off that right-of-way every so often, then you're going to say that you're going to lose your right to be able to close that right-of-way. And if you haven't claimed it for a long, long time, and there's lots of different people using that right away, and then you come back many years later and say, hey, they're going to say no, because you're going to inconvenience or cause problems for all these other people that have been using that right away, and you never claimed it. So now it would be inequitable for you to be able to close off that road and cause these people to have a difficult time to get to their property. Maybe that's a good example, maybe it's not. But anyway, let's see here. I can think of several examples of Hawaiians that had that happen to them because they had never claimed the right, or never made it so that that you couldn't use that piece of property or that right away, and it was pretty much public. When they tried to take it back, the courts overruled them, saying that no, it had been too long since you made the claim. All right, let's continue on here. Seeing we're still only in S's. Ooh, but as I'm down here, just having fun, stare decisis et non quieta movere, to adhere to precedents and not unsettle things which are established. Interesting. To adhere to precedents and not unsettle things which are established. That's stare decisis. It's already been done. Stare in judicio, to appear before a tribunal either as a plaintiff or defendant. Interesting. Like I said, used to get teased all the time for being the guy that would just sit there and read the dictionary. Here I am doing it on a Saturday night with you at 10 o'clock, and it would be 4 a.m. for some of you guys on the East Coast. Status. Ooh, here's a word that we might want to understand. Status, standing or state or condition. Reynolds v. Pennsylvania Oil. The legal relation of an individual to rest upon the community. Interesting. The rights, duties, capacities, and incapacities which determine a person to a given class. A legal personal relationship, not temporary in its nature, nor terminable at the mere will of the parties, with which third persons and the state are concerned. And then there's a cite. While term implies relation, it is not a mere relation. Interesting. Status. It also means a state because it signifies the condition or circumstance in which one stands with regard to his property. Oh, I'm glad I read that little part right there. It also means estate because it signifies the condition or circumstances in which one stands with regard to his property. And then there's status daemonario. Well, let's skip all those. Oh, so there's another word you might want to take a look at is the simple word status. Now, let's see here. Let's continue on. We were digging up rights in other definitions. Uh-oh. This is a long one, wherever this comes from. Holy crap, this is a long, long one. Oh, because it's the definition of statute, and it shows up in here. All right, I'll leave that to you. Statute, because this goes on for days. Foreign and civil law. General. See, an affirmative statute. And I will remind you one more time with regard to statutes. So maybe you should know what the meaning of the word is because it is repeated over and over again here. So maybe you should know statutes. What a statute. And it goes on for days and days and days. And continues on the next page on 2 columns, all the way to validating statute. See that title. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to come back after this video and come back and read statute. And I'm going to make a note to myself right here so I don't forget. See, BL4 as opposed to BL10. Okay, let's continue. But see, this is what happens when you read one thing leads to another, right? That's the whole point here, is that, and that's why when I gave you those 300 words, as I believe it was Patrick Devine said, you know, at least you'll be in the right part of the dictionary when you start to read those words, and then you start reading the words around those words, and those words should lead to other words, and then words like this, like statute and so forth. Statute of frauds, see fraud, statute of. All right, let's see here. Oh, this is a long Roman sentence from the Latin. Statutum ex gratia regis dictor quando rex dignitur. I'm slaughtering this. Sedere de jure su regio pro commodo et quiete popule sui. A statute is said to be by the grace of the king when the king designs to yield some portion of his royal rights for the good and quiet of his people. Well, guess what? They ceded all their rights to us. We are sovereign, just like the King of England. That's what happened way back when in the 76s. But most of us didn't figure out what those rights were and got all confused with, I'm a sovereign. And then bad things happened. And now they consider sovereigns like terrorists. So if you think you're a sovereign patriot, that's a label that will get you in trouble. Just like I was an illegal tax protester until I protested them calling me a legal tax protester. Because I wasn't protesting any tax. I told them over and over again, I'll pay whatever I fucking owe. You just got to prove I owe it. You just got to show me that the law applies to me. Oh, it's not positive law. How are you going to do that? Oh, by the way, I can't see where it applies to the living man. Oh, this applies only to the corporate person or to employees with employee identification numbers. I'm not one of those. And they never did. They tried to come over and scare me back into the pen, but it didn't work. Because whenever they showed up, and they did show up, they showed up at my mailbox. They showed up at 3 previous addresses, and every single one of them. And I told them where I live, and I told them I would come down with a court reporter. So what the fuck? Why you got to go around sending agents around to go, oh, because you were trying to intimidate and scare me. All you did was piss me off. And see, they know this very simple maxim. Beware of the citizen armed with the law. That's your armor. That's the armor of God. Knowledge is the armor of God. The sword I'm talking about is also knowledge. Then you can apply, right? So first, your defense. And your defense is knowing what the words mean, knowing the laws, knowing who you are, what you are, where you are, knowing who they are, what they are, and where they are. And then you can pick up your sword. You look a lot like this. And you can freaking destroy them. Problem. A lot of times now, they get into the point where no more teeth. So you need to go over here to the little library that Kurt put up. And I would download all of these and put them on your computer, because there's going to be, this guy is sticking in the craw of some of these people, to put it mildly. And they will eventually try to take stuff down. Will they be successful? I don't know. And also, I guarantee you, this would be the wrong guy to fuck with. He would figure out how to get it back up and how to make the people that violated him pay and hold them liable. But anyway, just in case, in the meantime, maybe you go over here to the Law Corner and download all this shit. It doesn't take much room. I mean, you know, they're PDFs and stuff. So Law of Nations is there. Law of Revelations. Do I have it here? Yes, I do. Right here. Or you can go buy this Behemoth. Right? I would buy it too. There's just something about having a book in your hands. That's nice. Anyway, but it's here. But the treatise on false arrest and imprisonment will give you some teeth. Because this is the problem with most of you is you don't want teeth because you don't know who to complain to. And I can assure you, I have walked into their courts and they ain't afraid of us, even a little bit. Even when you know and you let them know, because I did it in legalese, I know the jig's up. Didn't matter. Right? They weren't scared of me. They won't be scared of me until such time as the U.S. Marshal shows up. But up in that, fuck you. Well, what are you going to do? I mean, literally, that's their attitude. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about it? All right, we're busted. So what? They didn't ever say that. But I mean, that was basically the attitude. Right? And basically, it was get out of my courtroom then when I started saying, I'm going to tap your bonds. I didn't see it, but my boy said, when I said those words out loud in the court of law on the record, the people on the side, there was like a bailiff over there and a couple of clerks, or I don't know who they were. I don't even know who was in the court because that's how fucking ignorant I am. I didn't ask anybody to identify themselves. I just did business with people whose names I didn't even know or positions or anything. They're all in the court and, you just walk in there and fine. Who are you? Who are you? Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? What's your name? Have you got an identifying number? Did you swear an oath to uphold the Constitution? Why are you here? Besides this and this? Do I have a right to know these things or not? Most of you won't be that bold. I wasn't. I was too stupid. But anyway, when I said that, they couldn't control their faces. And the control that they lost was fear. But anyway, the idea is that the judge didn't give a shit. The judge and the clerk that are running that show basically just looked down, so I couldn't really see the expression on their faces. They didn't give a shit. What are you gonna do, slave? All right. So what you need to be able to do is go over to that thing and start saying misprision of felony, violation of rights under color of law, federally protected activities, whatever. Anyway, there's many things in Title 18, and those are criminal. Now you go over to Title 42, and those are civil. Go get them on the criminal, because they're criminals. This whole thing where Carl Lentz is like, oh, let bygones be bygones. They're fucking killing your friends right now as we speak. The clock is ticking on many people you know, and they don't know it. And if you tell them, you're a crazy person. So me was you. I wouldn't tell them. And see, that's the punishment right there. Right? Because you know, and you're not going to say nothing because they won't listen to you. So yes, you're going to lose people you care about because karma is a bitch. And like I said, I wouldn't have killed these people. I certainly wouldn't have killed the women. These sanctimonious social justice warriors who think that they're doing good and are, unwitting allies and confidants of our enemies. And they're too stupid to even know that when you point it out to them, that they're actually falling for the plan of mortal enemies of the Republic, bankers and communists and others. And they are the unwitting dupes. And the dupe delight is so thick, it's like cotton candy at a carnival. They are just, Muttley. Because you're wearing masks, you're fighting over the masks, you're fighting over whatever the hell it is. They love it. Right now, they have a campaign going on to get the Fijians to fight with each other. Because in Fiji, you got basically two kind of Fijians. There's more than that, but the dominant two that are there are Indians that were brought there as labor and now are still there after the plantations and mines have closed, and the Fijians that were there in the first place. All right, they have an uneasy truce, and there's a lot of half-breed Fijians that are half Indian and a half Fijian. Oh, and then don't forget the colonists. There's the white folk, the Englishmen. But that's a pretty small minority compared to these two. Anyway, they're using all this stuff, film from 5 years ago from the gas leak, trying to tell them that people are dropping dead because now, suddenly, my girlfriend got out of there. Fiji's got a mask mandate, and they are trying hard to sell these people on this, because turns out those with high school education and lower are kind of leery of this thing. Those that have been indoctrinated are so much smarter than the rest of us because they got PhDs or MAs or BSs or whatever it is. Those are the ones that are lining up to go get. That's how effective the entrainment and brainwashing is, because they got extra entrainment from hearing it from men that they put in, or women that they put into esteem or positions of authority, textbooks that have entrainment in there also, and. So they got the extra. And then at the end, they put the square cap on, telling you that they will help continue to build this edifice that you are a part of. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. They tried to tell you. They're Masons after all. You are the bricks. And so am I. And most of us are thick as bricks when it comes to understanding the law and what the words mean, and how to work this thing, and who to send it to once you do work this thing and put it on a piece of paper and stuff. How is the form supposed to look? How big is the piece of paper? What's your signature supposed to look like? Are there seals and signs that you should put on that thing? They put seals and signs on their things. Maybe you should too, but not ignorantly, not just to make it look good. You know why everything is on that document. Just like when I get a document now, and I got this many years ago, back in the 90s, I remember reading an article, and the guy was saying, if you get anything, any piece of paper from the government, look it over carefully, because there's nothing on that piece of paper that they didn't think about. They didn't just willy-nilly send you a piece of paper. Everything on that document. Again, that is the, he said almost, still spilled it. Put that like this. What you're seeing, what you're not seeing off camera is stacks and stacks of books. Ugh. That's the one that fell down. This is actually a pretty good book. I was reading this. I got to spend more time on it. Let's see here. But the one I was going for is this one. They don't send you anything. Right? And it's all connotative linguistics. It's all grammar fair, law fair, word fair. So the word fair is what we're doing tonight, is going through the dictionaries and just fooling around with some of the words and getting to see some of the combinations and how it works. And also trying to show you guys how to do some research. Because like I said, find the word. Now, go find that word. Right? Don't just look at the definition. Go see it in other definitions. Go see where it shows up in the maxims. Go see where it shows up in Bouvier's. Go see if it's the same in Black's 4 as it is in Black's 10. That's actual research. That's actually getting to know the topic that we're talking about here. And just as a hobby. And again, this should have been done between the time you were 5 and 25. But they didn't do it to you. In fact, they told you that was silly. You know what's important? Going out and getting pussy. That was what's important, right? Go get yourself a job. Go get yourself some money in a car. Why you get the car? So you can get some pussy. Right? Saturday night. That's what most of your friends are doing, except they're very hampered because of all this stuff going on. Well, if they're in a blue state anyway. Right? They're not spending time going over books like this. They're certainly not spending time going over, because I hate to say it, but get you a copy of this and take it to heart, because you're going to need it. They certainly aren't. I mean, hell, this is just fairy tales and nonsense and stories from ages past, even though it's in every fucking courtroom and every fucking place, every fucking. It just makes me crazy that the Muggles are this stupid. Anyway, so yeah, you might want to read Isaiah, good book to read. Hosea, good book to read. I read you from Hosea. But yeah, read this. It's the basis of the whole game that they're playing, because as I've said on numerous occasions, they don't care if you believe it. They believe it. All of our law is based, all of it, on this book. Not some of it. And you will find, if you start studying, that there is no code or statute that contradicts this. Not one. Further, when it comes to the law, let me just read that directly to you. That one I will write. I did write down. It's a Maxim, by the way. And Tariq Bey. Oh, Tariq has a new video up. I got to go watch that. I had all manner of stuff. Costco run, laundry. It was one of those kind of days. So, because you got to sharpen the saw and you got to live. You can't just do this 24/7. Although I'd like to. Reminds me of Fiddler on the Roof, where if he was a rich man, pray 7 hours every day. I don't pray 7 hours every day, but I certainly study this bullshit every 7 to 10 hours a day on many days. And I finally gotten to the point where I feel pretty comfortable about being able to write some letters and being able to defend myself. Because I have enough armor now that they can't just say shit to me anymore. And I'll be like, oh, okay. No, I'm not signing that document. I don't have to, and you know it. No, we don't have a contract. There, this one. Is it this one? Nope, this is a different one. This is where I started learning about I love it. Your people and my people were once one people. May it be so again. True statement then, but that's not the one I'm looking for. See? Now I got too many pages. But basically the law does no one harm. But I wanted to know the maxim that is. But you can go look it up. Is basically what I was looking for. Is that the law does no one any harm. So if you are being harmed by law, that's probably a code or statute because they're calling it a law, but it's not an actual law. Oh, here we go. Speaking of 18 USC, there they all are. 18 USC Ford. I know that's misprision of felony. Let's see here. 4, but 1048. 287, 611, 911, 242, 242, and 241, and 242, and 245, and 247. All of those. What are those going to be? Right? See, it's going to get to the point where you already know what that is. Right? When I say 241, you'll know which one it is. But it goes on and on and on. All the ones I found that would apply. 916, 341, 1343, 1961. Ooh, RICO. 2250, 115. Those are all under 18 USC. Right? Okay. We have to beat them over the head with their own laws that they swore oaths. Nope. Anyway, you can find them yourself. But basically, it is the law does injustice to no one. It harms no one. The law is your friend. So you should get to know the law. The law is where you get remedy. The law loves equity. There it is. Reversion of estate, perfection of rights. This is what we're doing. And now you got to figure out the words to use and who to say the words to enforce your will, or to have your will be done here on earth. Declarations, hugely important. I got too many pieces of paper in here. I gotta separate these. All right. Anyhow, my talk is just about over, but the point of this thing tonight was to get you to start seeing that when you're doing research, this is how one thing leads to another, and this is how guys make their discoveries, is by finding out what the words mean and then searching for those words and then reading those definitions so that you know what the words mean and that it's not a because a lot of times you read the definition and there's like 5 or 6 words in the definition that you got to go look up, right? Because you don't know what the words mean. Well, I don't know. Maybe you don't, but I do. There's numerous times when, and I mean, sometimes you think you know what that word means, and then you go look it up, and it turns out it doesn't mean what you think it means in that context, in that situation, in that definition. Am I making sense? England, holy cow. How's it? See, and that's the other fun thing about this interwebs is that I talk to people from all over the fucking world every week. Because I have clients, and I talk to people in India, and I talk to people in Africa, and there's people in England, and I talk to people in Canada. I talk to people in Canada way more often than I talk to people in Africa, but still, they don't want us talking to each other. They don't want us communicating. They don't want us sharing information. They don't want us even sharing our experiences. Hey, this shit's going down in my country too. You better not let it happen in yours. I've heard that more than once. I've had no exaggeration, 20 different people from various countries tell me, if you're making videos like this, tell them not to give up their guns. Don't give up your guns. Don't fucking give up your guns. They take your guns, and that's that. If they will treat us this badly when we have guns, imagine how badly they will treat us when we don't have guns. But I've heard that from Cubans. I've heard that from Venezuelans. There was an AFS student that was in our high school. And see, that's the other thing. Those old contacts are starting to come up. A friend of mine from, well, not a friend, but a acquaintance, a person that spent a year at my high school from Belgium, just recently, out of the blue, kind of sort of got in touch with me. Or I don't know how we ran into each other. But anyway, and it was very interesting talking to him from the perspective of a person that lives in Belgium. Really? All right, so I went through all the papers, and I didn't find the paper I was looking for, which means that it's not in this folder. Simple as that. All right, we'll go try one more time. Here are the definitions I was talking about. And here are the documents I was looking for. Bam, I know it already. All right. And again, I just want to point out that each one of these pieces of paper that I'm going over is probably 30 or 40 hours. This was the piece of paper I was looking for. Of me going over videos or books, taking notes out of books or whatever it is. Or usually it's videos, taking notes out of videos. Because if it's in a book, I just mark down page numbers and stuff like that. I believe there's this guy named Paul Sheely that does the photo reading. And he tells you that although your mind has unlimited storage, at the same time, and mind, not brain. It's not the thing that's in here. Mind is not in here. But anyway, has unlimited storage. But at the same time, you don't need to remember things if they're written down, if you can remember where they're written down. And your subconscious can do that much. And so a lot of times, like I said, I just take a note. And then I've gotten to the point where I start marking the YouTube video that I was watching and so forth, so that I know. But see, these, right? You put some, like, bam, I know what's on this page just because of this, right? I know what's on this page because of this and this. So all I got to do when I'm flipping through the pages, I see those two things, I know what's on the page. And then if I need to look further, I can dip down and read in my notes. And if I don't, I just skip over it. So like in the other, like this one. Oh, you think this one's about notice? Right? Let's see, when I started figuring out in Diane and figuring out that we pronounce it Diane, Lady Diana. When it's a name, it's Diane. And when they made it here, they made it Indian. And G, it's the same word. So now I start looking at that. Anyway, that kind of stuff. And then we found out about Kenna Dianes. And then we found out about L Dianes in the movies and so on. See, and then here's another one where all I got to do is look one place. And I know. Right? So anyway, all of this has to do with the fact that you and I were dumbed down and made ignorant in slave school 100% on purpose, to the point where even doing this stuff seems like, man, I don't want to do that. What would you rather do on Saturday night? Drink. What you rather do on Saturday night? I don't know, watch stupid movies or something entertainment, or maybe you like scary movies or whatever distraction. And guess what? In all those movies, there's notice. Right? I mean, and in all the videos, even the short little videos, a lot of times there's some kind of notice. Devo gave us all kind of notice, freedom of choice. Go watch Freedom of Choice, that video from Devo. See, and a lot of you guys not old enough. This is back in the 80s. This is back in 1980. I was still in high school. Right? People that are 20 years old, they have no idea how big and what a sensation Devo was. Like, I remember when Whip It came out, you couldn't go anywhere on this island without hearing that coming out of a radio or in the store or someplace. Right? We didn't understand that it was entrainment and mind control and putting stuff in way back then for what they're going to do now. Like, if you can't watch this, I've done this already, but I'm going to do it again. Take a second, just for giggles, just for giggles, if you haven't already, because I did this before. I know a lot of you guys are the same guys, but there it is. Go watch it.
Are you trying to sell your music?
No, I'm not. Assaulted by ads instantaneously. YouTube has really become... They're trying to make this where you just get the most mindless, useless stuff. Anyway, go watch that video. See who get old people and who gets it in the end. And they're getting shots. They're not getting those kind of shots, but they're still getting shots. And who's giving them the shot? Think about it this way. And this video will make it clear to you, actually. The people that rule us are kind of like these fucked up adolescents. Think about it that way. Where they actually think it's funny when you get this because you took the vax, because God damn it. And because it just slips out. But anyway, because you got that, you get the Bell's palsy, or you get, they think it's funny. That makes them laugh. Dupe delight, once again, that they can control you to the point where you'll actually harm yourself or your baby or your whoever. But anyway, go watch that video. It's clear in there. And listen to the words. Now they might take on a new meaning. Right? And that's from the 80s. That's freaking from the 80s. That's 40 years ago. This wasn't a new plan. They didn't just come up with this at some 2020 summit or something like that. They didn't just start. I mean, this was the plan. The plan was always to reduce us down, to break our political will, and to prove to God Almighty that we are not deserving of grace or salvation, because we'll kill each other for these things. Nice to see you too. Okay. Shall we call it an evening, folks? It's getting late. It's 10:30 for me, so it's way late for you guys. There was a couple other things I was going to go through, but good enough. I'm probably not going to be back tomorrow, and I'm probably not going to be back till next week, because I got a lot of studying to do. Like I said, I'm behind on watching videos. I got reading to do. This one turns out to be pretty damn interesting, actually. I'm going to have to go over it more. I thought I was just going to be able to skim and get most of what I want out of it, but I'm actually going to have to read this thing. We've been doing photo reading with amazing results. I will say it one more time. It's a superpower. It's a superpower you can learn. My son is putting it into, my oldest boy, is putting it into play, and it has made a difference in his music. It has made a difference in Chinese. I just went to go talk to his Chinese teacher today. She was amazed at he really do good today. Right? He's photo reading all the books that she gave him. And photo reading dictionaries and photo reading. It's very, very interesting. You put information in a certain way and you take it back out in a certain way. It also has made it so that I still have the brain farts when I turn on the camera, but I just relax a little bit and whatever it is comes up. So I've learned that thing, and that came from photo reading. And it doesn't, just because you can photo read doesn't mean that you still can't elementary read and still can't read for pleasure but if you want to get through a lot of information and have it in there, and it's like magic when you try to take it back out. My son and I were doing some exercises, and both of us were saying, this is like a miracle. This is like there's no words to say what it's like, right? Because it's like nothing we've experienced before, but it's miraculous. It's a superpower. When you start activating the stuff that you photo read, it's like magic. It comes out of, because it's in there. So there it is again, uncompensated and certainly right, unsolicited and definitely uncompensated testimonial for photo reading. Go find out about photo reading. And I will say, as my son has said, and I agree, he don't charge enough. I mean, for that amount of value, it's like $1,300 or something like that, or not even. It's so worth it. Like, it's so worth 1,300 of these. I can't even tell you. I can't stress it highly enough. I now go through piles of books. Let's see here. Yeah, trying to. Oh no. Oh no. Well, I'll tell you what. This is what I tell everybody. Go back, start from the beginning, and put it on 2 times speed. Or maybe 1.75, because sometimes I speak rapidly. So people say 2 times speed is too fast. But then there's other times when I have like long pauses and I'm shuffling through papers. So, I mean, for sure, hit 2 times speed. But the idea is that, yeah, this topic can put you to sleep because reading law dictionaries and so forth, I will say, is probably not the most exciting thing to do on Saturday night. But at the same time, there's another book I wanted to show you. Did I put it over here? Or did I move it into the other room? I think I might have moved it into the other room. Or is that it? No. Where is it? The Resiliency Factor is what I'm looking for, and I think my boy took it. Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, good book as it turns out, because basically what it does is show you. Maybe it's over here in this pile. Oh yeah. 100% on the recommendation of Cliff High, and yeah, this is a good one. This also lets you know that they've known what's going on for freaking centuries. Like centuries. And I don't have it over there either. All right. Oh, here's another one you might want to read. I've talked about this before if you just want to get more information about it. I'm going to talk about MSM, but this is one book that you might get. This is just for pain. But as you know, if you've been following me or watching the stuff that I do, MSM is a whole lot more than just pain relief. Okay. Late already. Going on 11 o'clock at night over here. And going on 2.5 hours. Although I've made lots of videos that's going on 3.5, 4 hours. But anyway, educate yourself. This is just example of how to do it. And also I did this for myself so that I can listen to the definitions and the things that I read on 2 times speed. And then I can also go back and see if I erred in misspeaking. I now really do believe that a lot of those politicians over the years, that when they say I misspoke, they really might have misspoke. Because it is. There's times when I watch these videos and what I thought I said, and when I went back and listened, it's not what I said. The one that sticks out glaringly the most is when I said that Title 28 wasn't positive law. I meant Title 26, because Title 26 is not positive law, but Title 28 is. Anyway, for some of my brethren out there, spell that out, by the way. The A1ONE. That's your status for some of us. Not everybody, but for many of you, if you've been here for, your family been here since the Mayflower, or your family been here for hundreds of years, you basically, you may not be A1, but your heritage is North American. That's you. I'm A1 because my people were here long before I have. Well, we should probably check into this. I've been told that I have Cherokee, and I've been told. Well, it's kind of obvious that I have the Moor in me. And those people were here before there was the colonists, and they had Little Egypt going on here. And where did they get their documents anyway? As it turns out, they got them from the freaking Indians, who they called savages and nomads and didn't know what to do with their land. These guys had constitutions. Iroquois Nation and those also around the Great Lakes. No, these were not savages. These people had law. And yeah, they quarreled among themselves. This whole idea that the people that were here were like all peaceful and spiritual and shit like that. Hell no. Comanches, are you kidding me? And Cherokees fairly civilized, but Comanches and Apache and crap, can't remember the name of Sioux Nation, also not the most peaceful nation. But anyway, Hopis and a couple of the other guys, Navajos, a little more on the peaceful side. But at the same time, no, these guys warred with each other. They shit in each other's skulls. I mean, they were pretty hardcore. The colonists weren't much better, though. But the idea being is that there were all manner of people here. And then this is the other thing. You want to do some research? Start looking at place names. Especially, I don't know if there's any Hawaiians watching this, but go look at some of the place names on the thing. And they will lie about how those place names got there. But one was Lele Kai, and it's in like Kansas or someplace like that. And I was just like, that's Hawaiian. And then I did a little research on it. And yeah, it's an old Indian tribe name or Indian place name or something. Them Indians were probably off of canoes and had traveled halfway across the freaking continent and had come from Hawaii. Just my point of view, because you can't tell me that these Polynesians, the greatest seafarers that ever graced this planet, went all the way. I mean, the language in New Zealand and Tahiti and Hawaii is the same freaking, and Easter Island is the same freaking language. You can't tell me that they didn't make it all the way to the big islands of South America and North America. I can't believe that would be true. Not to mention there's a place called Oahe in, it sounds like they had nasal problems. Honest to God. Because it's cold up there. There's an island off the coast of Canada in that basically, those are Hawaiians. They look like Hawaiians. They use Hawaiian words. Them is Hawaiians. Mixed with whatever was already there. And then the other thing, I have an Asian girlfriend. She's Japanese and German. That's about it. Her daddy German and her mommy Japanese. All the Mexicans think that she's from either think that she's Chicano or that she's from, I can't remember what country down there. One of the coasts, one of the Middle American countries that is borders on the Pacific, that has a border, like Guatemala or Belize. I can't remember which one. But yeah, they and those guys have Japanese words. They use Japanese boating technology. Same over here on this side of the Pacific, same technology over here on this side of it, right down to the way they put their joins together. And yeah, I see a lot of South American, Mexican, or not, Latinos that, wow, they look Japanese. Or they look like they could be Asian. And then there's other ones that don't look anything like that. But there's a lot of them that, and like I said, I've been in California where people just started speaking Spanish to her. I understand Spanish. She doesn't. Anyway, the idea being is that there was a lot of people in the Americas long before the colonists came. And if you can prove through your lineage or blood that you were here previous to 1776, your status is A1. Original person, right? Not original, but just one of the originals that was on the continent. We have rights given to us from God Almighty, and we set up this thing to secure those rights. Your political will and your financial will. You guys trying to get EIN numbers. EIN numbers has nothing to do with your political will. There is no form you're going to get from the corporation that's going to express your political will. Well, maybe there is, but overall, you're going to do that with declaration and a pen and handwriting. If you're thinking that there's some form that you're going to get from the U.S. government that's going to set you free, you high as a fucking kite. Okay. Yes, the Iroquois. But there are a lot of dark-skinned people, and it's pretty clear the Olmecs were here. And I watched this one video just recently. He goes on and on about that Olmec head, and he never once mentions the fact that, gee, that looked like an African to me. They pretty clearly came here from over there, set it up, and because there's a lot. And then also in Mexico, I have been in Mexico, and I have seen there is a certain type of Mexico. They look African. Mexico, a Mexican. And they even call them. There's mestizos, and there's this kind of mestizos, and that. I can't remember. There's a name for that. Negro. It basically means black. Something or another, negra. I can't remember if you guys know. But anyway, the idea being is that they're dark-skinned Mexicans, and they didn't come on slave ships. All right, and they're considered among the original people, the old people, as opposed to some of the others. Same thing in the Americas. The Moors have figured out. In my family, it was passed down that the story that they told us that you got in school in the history books, that ain't the story. We were here. We didn't get here on boats. And if you, maybe originally many, many moons ago, but for hundreds and hundreds of years, we were here breeding and making plantations and turning these wild lands into food forests, and no money, system of exchange, but none of this Babylonian money magic. Anyway, so if you can claim that, you get, they will recognize the fact that yeah, you're an original and you have rights, but not unless you make them recognize the fact. And then some of you guys, I don't know, we got 9 here, but I know usually 100 or so people watch these, or I don't know how many it is, but there might be some that are, you're Native American. Well, claim your freaking tribe. Right? And your tribal elders, let them know. Who's your father? Who's your, right? And this is the other thing, that you're not descendant of slaves. You're son of a man or a woman. You're daughter of a man or a woman. They got you trying to declare things that are stupid. Declare the fact that you're son of man. Declare the fact that you are son of woman. In our society, it's man that you want to do, because we're paternal and we trace our lineage through the men, not the women. But at the same time, you should know both sides. And you want to do some fun math, go back 40 generations and see how many people you're related to. Right? 2 to the 40th power. It's a big number. Yeah, let's just throw it in. That's a number I should know, and I don't know it. I have a little boy that's fooling around with Google Plexes and having fun with that. But let's just go to the 40th equals. Holy crap. It's a number with 12 zeros. All right, let's go smaller. That's 40 generations. Let's just do 2 to the 20th. So 20 generations back, in other words, because you know how it goes, right? With that. There be you, there be those two, there be those two, there be those two, there be those two, etc. And so you'll figure out eventually that your family tree can't be perfect. There were some mommies and sons that were probably being naughty, some brothers and sisters that were probably being naughty, some fathers and daughters that were probably being naughty, some and then we all, I don't know, maybe you don't, but I know more than a few people that have, oops, what am I doing? More than a few people that have one woman and several brothers had children with the same woman. That happens. And also the other way around, where one man and several of the sisters have, well, I guess it's the same thing when you get right down to it, but no, it's not. But several of the sisters have had children with, And I always thought that women hated it if you liked their sister. But anyway, where they have children, so it's one father and same women. So this tree is not going to work out. But anyway, the bottom line is here. You go back 20 generations and you are related to 1,048,576 people. And then multiply by 2. And now it's 2 million. So you are related to millions and millions and millions of people. We used to be one thing. And now we are considered separate things. But we should be one thing again. It's just like down in South America. Go travel in South America. They drew lines. And it's the same people. Right? All Maya people. And we got Guatemala. We got Ecuador. We got, or not Ecuador, Honduras and Costa Rica. And they just drew all these little lines and said, you people are over here, you people are over here. And yeah, now you guys fight with each other in different countries. Same thing down in South America. All Incas. But, we got this country, this country, this country. But it's basically one people going all the way to Mexico, natives and so forth that were conquered by the Spanish, right? Those are the colonists that they sent in there, right? Because the brotherhoods came in into Mexico, but the brotherhoods came in English flavor, French flavor, and Spanish flavor. And what that was the vulgar Latin that they gave certain colonies. And again, that what were they doing? They were making sure that Spain and Gaul and Italy and they separated the main portions of their empire, and then they separated them by language. Is that hard to understand? And then, because if you can't talk to each other, you're more likely to war with each other. And if you're warring with each other, you're not warring with them. Kind of just like now. But the point being is that we is all related. If you go back far enough, right? And then see, they'll try and lie to you about this. I know a guy, my son takes music lessons from him. He can trace his lineage back 65 generations. 65. Most of you guys can't go back 4. And he's probably, they fucking got the whole family book. It's like that thick. And not everybody's in there, obviously, but his family going back through the men for 65 fucking generations. He knows who his grandfather 65 generations back. He knows their name because it's written down. I can't even tell you my grandfather's name from, 10 generations ago. No idea. Not a clue. That's how you know I'm a conquered person. Okay, let's go read some comments over here. Don't use that word in my threads, damn it. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got a whole conversation going on over here. All right, so. Yep. See, the Aussies all over the planet. They're lying to you. Mikey J, moonwalking dude, he basically told you the history books are a lie. You got to know this. You must know this. These books are lying. Oh, there wasn't anybody here but them Aborigines. Oh, there wasn't anybody here but these savage Indians that were warring with each other and traveled from place to place. They didn't have any permanent settlements. They didn't name the place Cairo. They didn't name the place Memphis. They didn't name the place any of these things along the Mississippi. Lies, and more. You think your fucking current events? I've said it 100 times. Your current events are shitty. Hoo! I tell you what, your your history is so much worse. Anyway, yeah, in Africa. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, that's exactly it. And you know what? Some of those were false flags because many of those documents were saved. They were just secreted, taken away from us. Same thing with the gold. They removed the gold from circulation as a tool of scarcity because poverty is a science. Poverty is not natural. Poverty is absolutely contrary to the laws of nature because in nature, if you look around, it's abundance. Like I went on a lovely hike the other day into the rainforest, and at the end there was lovely waterfalls and so forth. But on the way there, we went through some pastures, and there were some big ass bulls and other creatures there, and they live in salad, super green. I mean, they just live in food. They don't pay nothing. They're gonna get eaten, but but at the same time, kind of like you and me. But at the same time, these animals, they just live in abundance. The first law of nature is abundance. Scarcity and lack is technology, is science, foisted upon us by these demons. And until you guys understand that, we're fucked. And we're going to be now in the next generation. It's all about big families. We were lied to when we were told that we should only have one or two to save the planet. No, so we don't fucking spontaneously, though I want to use, ascend or arise or attain a higher consciousness. Because they don't want tens of millions of us here. Further, they tricked the dark-skinned Americans into killing their babies. Otherwise, you know how much political power there would be in the Southland among the quote-unquote darkies if they hadn't murdered all their children for fucking generations. The Negro Project, renamed Planned Parenthood. Oh, we're not killing babies. We're just planning. That's it. They're planning for you not to have any political power. They're planning for you to make sure you kill your own. They're planning to make sure that you are going to have to do some penance because karma is a bitch. So if you did one of the biggies, and one of the biggies is abortion, believe it or not, because it's ending life. Now, again, we can argue all day over when does that start. I'm the heartbeat guy. The heart starts beating, you don't get to stop the heartbeat. That's just me. You can draw the line someplace else. But I mean, at 9 months, you are a fucking murderer, period. I don't give a shit. It's not between you and the doctor. There's another thing involved who does not have a voice. But I mean, even Ron Paul, morning after drug. What the fuck's the problem with the morning after drug? Or pill. I remember that was a hard thing to get. And yeah, having having them administer or do something to you, some kind of abortifacient or something like that. And there's many natural ones that they've hidden from you, plants and so forth. Like, it's awesome because in this whole book, it will never once talk about, you're not allowed. Just like I can't say certain words here, you can't say certain words in print. One of those words in print is what herbs do what when it comes to the female sloughing off the cells inside the uterus before such time as whatever's there comes to term. There are many plants that do that. They don't want you knowing about that. And if you want to do anything like that, you got to go to them and pay money. Because certainly we wouldn't want to have the woman having that much control over her own dominion, over her own body, over her own land. You don't even own the thing. You're a tenant. Until such time as you tell them different. Otherwise, they claim this. They claim this. Okay. Yeah. At least 50%. Same thing I was telling Hawaiians. Bruh, if there was 800,000 Hawaiians in the state, things would be different in the state. Instead, there's like 6,000 Hawaiians in the state, and they don't have a fucking say over any fucking thing. In fact, we got Hawaiians homeless in their own freaking islands. That's what the colonists do. And see, a lot of the stuff I learned about sovereignty, I learned from Hawaiians. Because they figured out, because see, here in Hawaii, they can say, bro, we was here before you. Now, we had a kingdom, and you overthrew it. And you didn't do it legally or lawfully. It just so happens they put a Mason in control. Kalakaua was the highest 33rd degree Mason. The highest of Masons this state ever produced was the king of this island nation, the merry monarch, the drunk. Oh, I'm going to piss off Hawaiians if I talk about that. But he was a notorious drunk. Why was he drunk? Because he was selling out his people. Anyway, them guys figured out a few things. I started reading the paperwork that had to do with the overthrow and the cessation and the not emancipation. What's the word I want? The documents wherein we became a state, and starting to learn the definitions and meanings of those words, and then figuring out that the Hawaii State Constitution is an interesting constitution because it's based on kingdom law. It's also our codes and statutes. The Hawaii Revised Statutes are also based on kingdom law. The Hawaiian Kingdom that was here, where I'm sitting right now. This was the Hawaiian Kingdom. It is still the Hawaiian Kingdom. It's just conquered. And these people will never get their act together because they have been pitted against each other. The four ponies, they know how to do it here. But I hate seeing it. They're not going to agree on nothing. So, and then again, even if they could agree, you get part Hawaiians, and then you have Oha and stuff like that. And there is some limited political power there. But bottom line, if there were hundreds of thousands of Hawaiians in a state of 1.4 million people, if 800,000 of them were Hawaiian, things would be different here. And now, see, they start fucking around with that word. Because technically, my boys are Hawaiian. They were born here. But they're not Hawaiian. They were just born on the soil. And that's only one generation. Now, see, if they have children, and they have children, and they were all born on this soil, now they can consider themselves native to this soil. And then if you go 7 generations, and there's law around this when it comes to genealogy and heritage. Now, I can trace my family tree back, and I can talk about my father and his father and his father and his father and his father. That's about as far as I can go. And his father. Right? Here on the land. Which gives me that status. I see a lot of the Moorish nation also talks about, your various statuses. Because the nation state was supposed to acknowledge that. Well, we got a republic, and then that republic had some issues back around 1861. And in 1871, after 10 years of serious bloodshed and problems, and no real cessation when you get right down to it. I mean, when you get right down to it, we have not ended that war. And what we did was compromise, and this is why Trump and the people that all you people over there and all you people over there. That was great. Anyway, the point being is that them guys were telling you some of this stuff and trying to tell you that, yeah, we're going back to 1776 and we're ending the cessation, or we're ending the cessation. What did you just say? We are, it's the cessation of this conflict that has been going on between the people and this corporation, and right? Because I mean, basically, we're considered, unless you tell them otherwise, you need to let them know you're a civilian and that you're non-combatant and you're not an enemy of the state and that you mean them no harm and because they consider you all these things. And if you are a U.S. person, you are enemy of Republic. You didn't know that. So if you didn't know that, again, fraudulent concealment, fraud, fraudulent conveyance of language, non-disclosure, you never would have signed those documents because you didn't mean to be an enemy of, you thought you were part of that republic. You thought you were one of the We the People. You thought that you were part of that thing called, you're not a signatory of it. You are not party to those contracts, but you are the genesis of those contracts. We, the people, established those declarations, made those declarations, and established those truths, and basically said, look, here this document secures our rights. You uphold this document. That's what they were doing. Okay, There's a whole bunch of people that didn't like that, and they tricked you. And they tricked me. And now you got to get untricked. Simple as that. Part of being untricked is admitting that you were tricked. And most people won't admit they were tricked. So again, you go back to the nexus of this whole trick. And the trick was getting your mom or getting you to sign a document that bonded you for 75 years or bonded your children for 75 years to these fucking demon worshiping bankers. And it's crazy talk to the muggle because they don't even believe there is such a guy, even though he's explained and described plainly and clearly in this thing, talking to Jesus. But nah, he don't exist. These are fairy tales. There's no demons. There's no bad guys. There's no evil. There's no Lucifer. That's just words on a page. Okay. But I'm telling you, they believe it. And the more I do research, the more I find that this is not a book of bullshit at all. And that there is code and all manner of wisdom contained therein. And I could spend my whole life just on this one book and I wouldn't get it all. I'm not gonna, but I'm just saying. Yep, there you go. We got more conversation going on over here. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, see, and this is the thing that Americans also, well, U.S. persons, people of North America, also Canada and Mexico need to understand that the Chinese have reason to be pissed at us. Put it that way. I was there. I talked to quite a few Chinese people. They know or they expect that this century that we're in now is supposed to be their century. They're expecting for it to be their time. The way it was the American century last century, they're expecting it to rain. And they have not forgiven us for the opium. They have not forgiven the Japanese for World War II. They got long memories and they're about to get they're set about getting even. And they have maniac demon CCP communist fucking crazy people who took over their government that may goad the common man into fulfilling those wantings for revenge. Or, right? Because, yeah, we screwed those people. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Opium. Oh, so what they do back? Now, fentanyl. They sent enough fentanyl into this country to kill every one of us numerous times. Because fentanyl, you just need the tiniest, right? Most people die on fentanyl because they have no idea that it looks like it's nothing and it'll still kill you. Anyway, well, we got some problems. I think we win. In fact, I don't think we win. I know we win. But there's going to be some carnage. And see, this is not the regular boomy, boomy, shooty, shooty, bangy, bangy kind of war. This is the this kind of war. And you literally get the other side to kill themselves. So you win without firing a shot. And then, decimate their own economies, right? If they wipe out a third of us, they would think it would be that much easier to invade, right? I'm not worried about invasion, honestly. And now that we are almost going on 3, I will drop this little piece. Using I'm fooling. They're angels. I'm missing some letters. But using this technology, they plan on, and a few other pieces of technology, they're going to take out a third of the Chinese. They're going to probably take out like 300 million of them because there's this dam there, Three Gorges Dam. Yeah, I have a bad feeling. There's your watch the water. I got a really bad feeling about that one. And see, it's no fair because many of those 300 million, absolutely innocent, had nothing to do with anything. Got no grudge against me or you, would never anything. And yet they're going to get wiped out. Why? Because just like in Game of Thrones, the two fucking queens couldn't get along and they wind up wiping out their own people. And then the one queen who should have been the good guy turns out, no. Wearing that blue, right? Fire is the devil's only friend. So the symbolism there should have been obvious to you. And the people behind those walls and in that city, I'm talking about Game of Thrones in the end, they had nothing to do with it. Well, some of them did, but I mean, they didn't all deserve. Just like now, again, I would not have put the needle. I mean, and I'm not kidding. There are some people, I fucking hate them. I can say it out loud, but I still wouldn't have killed them. Not my job. In fact, them surviving and being here, their miserable selves, is punishment enough for me, because watching them stumble through life, drinking and doing drugs and beating on each other, calling that a relationship. But I still wouldn't have put a needle in them. These others, not so. So anyway, over here in the United States, many of these guys doing it themselves. Over there in China, many of those guys, yeah, they should probably not live downstream. But and again, that Three Gorges, it doesn't need to burst, but it's probably going to burst. Just another thing. If it doesn't, we all happy. If it does, but that's how they break the back. Because I've heard, I cannot confirm, by the way, that we're going to take it to them on their soil. And it's the Chinese people that are going to suffer, because it's not the Chinese people that we're after. It's the idiot fucking crazy monsters that are in the CCP. And they aren't monsters. Look at what they did. Just go back and look at that history. Oh my God. They had those people eating each other. Like, they were monsters. And right now they're monsters doing, I mean, but I point my finger at them. Look how many fingers pointing back at me. Well, it seems to be 3 times as many fingers pointing back at me. Because if you think organ trafficking isn't going on here in the United States, you're fucking out of your mind again. Because it's going on. And if you think, anyway, we've been over it. Because it turns out, and see, go watch my videos over time, and you can see the progression where I finally wake up to the fact that, yeah, if they're on TV, they're in the club. If they're in most political positions, not most, but many, and especially important ones and key political positions, they on another team. There ain't nobody in those positions that isn't part of the club, and that club fiercely believes in this book. They have many rituals, one of which is why I made my video today, because I know it ends today. This is the 13th day. And anyway, it ends on May 1st. And that's why you'll see many things happen today. Go look at your history books. May Day. Why is May Day important? Well, it's because it's a holiday for them. And one of the things that they do is sacrifice. So having war and bombs and big battles on this day is delicious to them. Okay. I was going to do more law and stuff, and I wound up just ranting. But, and there was, again. Okay. Be of good cheer. The casualties are real. But if you're intelligent, you will get through this thing. I should talk about cryptos a little bit, and I should talk about silver a little bit. They are going to lose control of silver. That's going to happen. That's not happening today. That's not happening this month. But it's coming, and they know it's coming. And it's coming sooner than later. When it happens, I don't know. Might not be for a whole nother year. There are a lot of people that keep thinking, because see, I thought they didn't have it back in November. And then anyway, the deliveries, they don't have it. They don't have it. And yet they're still fudging their way through it. They got paper. They got hundreds. Actually, I think it's thousands. I don't know what the number is, but it's many of these for every ounce of. Oh. Uh-oh. I took it with me because I always bring my. But what did I do with it? I don't know. Anyway, because I always bring a silver dollar with me because I often have the conversation about this as compared to the silver dollar. So I got my mask. That I said, does it look like I wore the thing? The answer is no. It does not look like I wore the thing because I did not wear the thing. Here is the thing. See it? I can hold it in my hand. Ain't nobody else has a claim on this but me. There is no third-party risk. Right? If you have one of these, whoever gave you this, you have to trust them that you'll give them back this and they'll give you one of these. And historically, these guys have not been trustworthy. There is no trust in this country. But I'm telling you, go look at the paper price and go see what you can get one of these for on anywhere. Get the kind you can hold in your hand and get some now. This is about to go. I know we've been saying this forever. We, Bix Weir, all the, the guys, Ted Butler, Morgan, all them guys. Mogambo Guru, Golden Jackass. We've been talking about this forever. Max Kaiser tried to pull this off, but it's going to happen. It's coming. This is going to be. It's going to go. I agree. This is going to go parity with gold, and then it's going to be more than gold. But it's going to at least parity with gold where it is now. At least bare ass minimum. Before that, I think Theta would take off, and Theta Fuel, and a couple of other ones. Anyway, the point being is, if you can get some that you can get in your hand, get some that you can get your hand. And this is too big. This is going to be weight. This is a whole ounce. You won't be able to spend this anywhere. So you're going to have to get yourself some dimes, because you're in the future, just like how gold is, where you can get grams, little tiny ones and so forth. That's going to be that. Right now, there's no need for us to make it fungible like that. So get you some dimes, get you some quarters, get you some halves that are silver, 90% silver. Get some of these guys. Canadian maple leafs, also fun. And I don't do pneumastics, and I know several people that talk about pneumastics. I don't do pneumastics, but I just do as much silver for the cheapest price. Now, this just happens to be an actual piece of currency from the U.S. Treasury. This is Liberty, right? So this is all right. But I mean, I got plenty of other coins that are just 1 ounce of silver that isn't made by the U.S. Mint. These sell at an extra premium now. Get some. Cryptos. Bitcoin is not even start. And if you want to know, I can't prove it, but the demons gave us crypto. It's crypto, for fuck's sake, people. You ever get a 4.0 in school? How about a 3.0? How about 2.0? What does the O stand for? This is crypto. Cryptocurrency. All right. It's a wet dream for those who want absolute and positive power. If you understand the blockchain and how some of these technologies go, they know everything. They know anyway, total control. Absolute and utter control. I don't know why you would take digital currency from a government. They can shut it down at any time. I mean, just on and on and on. They can automatically take money out of accounts if they know your wallet and keys and stuff. I mean, oh my God, why would you do that? Okay, now there's other crypto and crypto, believe me, is part of the solution. Because right now, crypto and stocks are absorbing the huge amount of money printing that's going on right now. They are flooding trillions of dollars into trillions and trillions and trillions, to the point where it's probably quadrillions at this point. Or at least a quadrillion. But I mean hundreds of trillions of dollars. And they have stole trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions. Am I going to go there on this video? Let's go there. We're 3 hours in. Okay, we get to the good part. There's a sneeze coming, and it's going to change everything. They know the sneeze is coming, and they've been stealing trillions of dollars to prepare for this sneeze. They'll tell you about secret space programs, and they'll tell you about all this other bullshit, but this is the crux of the matter. The fact that every 12,000 years or so, the sun does this thing. It used to be common knowledge until basically this century. And that's more research that I did. And many other people also. But I mean, this used to be fairly common knowledge that there's a cycle, and that cycle is very catastrophic to life on the surface. And it happens about every 12. And they have the whole zodiac, and they have all these stories to tell us about it. And they fucked all that up stuff up, kept it from us, and lied about it. Generally through the guys that do that work for them. And they came up with all kind of bullshit stories. Oh, that's what I'll do. How about I give you that? Diebold Foundation. You go watch the videos for yourself if you don't know who this guy is. I'll just put one here. Actually, here, there's a link to all of them. I've watched every single video this guy's ever produced. Ever. I do not have all of his books, but I have some of his books online in PDF form. Got to come back here and put it here. Okay. This is the why of almost everything. Part of the reason why they want to get rid of as many of us as possible is because they cannot accommodate, or they think they can't accommodate all of us. Understand that the last time this happened, we were probably down to 30 fertile females on the whole planet, which is why your DNA traces back to a very select few women. And probably, just like this time, Africa was the best place that they figured out to be, and the survivors started in Africa and worked their way out from there. Because we've been here a whole lot longer than 12,000 or 25,000 or 75,000 or 100,000 years in this form. You want to get really crazy and deep into the woo-woo, you go back 275,000 years, and there's this other species that claims to have conquered this planet fair and square. Anyway, and that was 275,000 years ago. And there's been all kind of machinations and wins and losses and so forth ever since. And these are the same guys that are keeping technology from us, because if we discover them and have that tech, we could give them a rub, because there's not that many of them here that are feasting on the colony that they've created. I'll leave it at that. And again, that's woo. That's conspiracy. I won't even call it conspiracy theory. It's imagination. I don't even know what do you call it? It's there's a lot of people that think this way, and there's actually even books you can read about it and so on. But doesn't make it true. And 270, we don't even know what was going on 6,000 years ago. So when people start talking about 275,000 years ago, and the guys like from L. Ron Hubbard and the that whole crew of interesting people, and they're actually pretty damn serious when you get down to it. But when they start talking about what it was like 200,000 years ago, and Bob the Spaceman and so forth, I have an issue, because, like I said, they've managed to hide the fact that looks very clear to me, and this has always been crazy talk up until quite recently, that there were very tall men that were twice as tall as us, at least, and probably much bigger than that, running around on this planet. And there has been a huge effort to make sure that we didn't find out about that. And like I said, your history is crazy. If you take a look, because they'll try and make it sound, that's crazy talk, that's Photoshop, that's not, there's no, and then it turns out, wait a minute, do some research into that. And then, from what I understand, we're not exactly shrimps, but there's a lot of others. And Guardians of the Galaxy was a good notice about that, where, yeah, have there been those of us that have been picked up by others or have broken away on our own with our own technology, took off and didn't come back, or because of the way the time-space continuum works, when they do come back, they're like, ooh, right? It's been quite a while, and geez. And then there's some other law that goes on, wherein, again, just because they have higher tech and they're extraterrestrial does not make them beneficial to us or having the same goals and wants and needs and desires as us. And also the fact that their idea of what we call good and evil might be a little different than what we call good and evil. They might have a slightly different way of looking at things, just saying. So, and it should be pretty clear that they're looking up at the stars at night, that it's possible that there are others. And if there are others, and they seem to be, I can put 100 articles now where the United States government is coming out and saying, yeah, hey, look, here's some footage of genuine footage of a UFO and all these triangular craft. Now, for pyramidal shaped craft or whatever. I have a problem with some of this because I'm pretty sure, being the kind of guy that I am, that it's going to be complete and utter BS. And that some of the technology that they're going to parade out there to do War of the Worlds, and I mean, fuck, if they got away with this and this, how hard would it be if you have actual physical evidence that you can see with your eyes, where there's these things in the sky that, and they've seeded it and seeded it and seeded it. These huge mile-long motherships, yeah, they're balloons. They're balloons. Big, big balloons. And in there and in here, they're so big, there can be many small ships that come out of here. Actually, they would never put wings on them. Why would they need wings? That's silly technology. Anyway, they can be housed in these things. They're like aircraft carriers. You kind of got a little bit of disclosure. Captain America, when they had those big flying fortresses up in the sky. It's a thing. This technology, it's basically a dirigible. It's a big helium balloon. Massive. And could there be some tech on there that's anti-grav and other stuff? Probably. But I mean, not necessarily. They could still probably pull it off. And see, what they were doing is, because there's stories from what we call them, the ones that have the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, where they talk about the bottoms of these ships undulating like this because they're canvas. And then what they had done is they had projected onto this canvas a picture to make it look like high-techy stuff, pipes and so on, when actually all it is a piece of canvas that's being projected upon, which is why it ripples. So they were trying to say that part of them were saying that no, it's because of the gravitic effects and space technology and blah, blah. But what the more likely answer is, they were projecting onto a canvas that was moving because this is a big ship and, it's windy up there and it's not static. So when this thing was undulating, that's why that whole thing looks like it's undulating, because it is undulating and it's not what you think. Anyway, the idea is that we got bullshit disclosure coming. They may or may, it's probably going to be us. It's not them. It's not others. It's just us trying to fool us into thinking us is being invaded so that they have more power and control. That's my theory. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And further on that on those platforms, they have mounted direct energy weapons. And some of the more advanced ones may, in fact, have cloaking devices and other devices that are considered high tech or considered in the realm of not possible, even though they're doing it. Again, because of this business right here, I have clients who work at Skunkworks and I've tutored their children. I have clients that have worked in NSA and I've tutored their children. I have clients that worked in many agencies. And I had a lovely conversation with one of the guys, and basically it went the same way as you've seen these memes, I'm sure, and you've heard it. But if you can think of it, they're already doing it. I mean, if you can imagine it, they've pretty much already built it. Okay, us now, not sometime in the future, not, I mean, warp drive, yeah, getting to other galaxies in short periods of time. Galaxies, not just constellations in this galaxy, but other galaxies. Because you got to remember that everything that happened in Star Trek was supposed to have happened inside the Milky Way. But anyway, the idea is that this has been here a long time. And when I say this, I mean all of this. And there are many entities in various stages. It's infinite, and it goes through multiple dimensions. These guys will tell you that the people in your dreams have dreams with people in them who have dreams. The infinite consciousness is the infinite consciousness. The infinite consciousness is one thing. The all is all. And there's nothing outside the all. It's self-aware and happy. And it's one thing. And you're part of that one thing. There's only one of us here. Nobody understands when I say that. It seems to me. I used to think you did, but you didn't. But because you think, well, that's ridiculous, 100th Monkey, because you're there and I'm here, and that means there's two of us. And that there's other people over here, and that means there's 3, 4, 5, 6 of us, at least. And hell, it says 9 right over there, so there's at least 9 of us. And when I read the books, it says there's billions of us. So what the fuck are you talking about? All of that is one thing. Like I told you, generation, operation, destruction. ISIS, Ra, L. It's 3 things, but it's one thing. Generation, operation, destruction. Vishnu. Pardon me. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. It's 3 things, but even they will tell you it's one thing. You are these 3 things. But it ain't but one thing. Just like rights. Rights are one thing. But I just read how long did I spend reading about all the different kind of rights and how you can turn them into that part, right? Ha, get it? Rights. But I mean, the idea that most of your rights are 3, and then there was that one part where it's 3 things, and then there's one part where it's 2 things, right? Okay, read about your rights, but it's one thing. You have the right to travel. You have the right to be secure in your papers in person. You have the right. It's all there. You have the right to a speedy trial if you've done something wrong. You have the right to face your accusers. Right? You have the right to speak freely. You have the right to peaceful assembly. You have the right to worship your God any damn well, play any way you please. The government didn't give you those rights. You had those rights. Those are your rights given to you by God. You don't need permission to frickin' worship your God from anybody. You don't need permission to get together with your friends to worship that God. You don't need to get, fuck. And they got you thinking that, oh, well, in order to do that. Well, they don't make you put on one of these, but they should make you put on one of these. They make you put on one of these. So before you can go to church, you got to put on one of these. Before what? Because we wrote a rule and order. The fuck's wrong with you people? And I love it because I shut people down all the time. Well, yeah, you're just talking bullshit. I was surrounded by 3 men with guns telling me I had to put one of these things on. And I told them to fuck the fuck off. Very politely without using those words. But basically, I told them to fuck the fuck off. And they fucked the fuck off because they understood that I could tap their bombs. And when they gave me the piece of paper, and again, I wasn't a jackass. When they asked to see my ID, I handed them my ID. I asked to see theirs. They wouldn't show it to me. Boom, right there. Violation of due process. They did not identify themselves at point of contact. Boom, 25 million right there. Due process rights, fundamental rights, constitutional rights. Understand how I'm using that. Violations are huge, which is why they carry personal insurance, which is why they're bonded. Because they could never afford it themselves if they're found guilty of violating your rights. But they're not worried about it because most of us are too fucking stupid to even bother pointing out the fact that they violated our rights. I pointed out the fact that, 1, I wasn't doing nothing, so you had no reason to come over and talk to me. 2, if your reason to come over and talk to me, your probable cause is because I wasn't wearing one of these. Show me where that rule or order is binding on the living flesh, on the living man. Oh, can you? So fine, give me your piece of paper. And I put no contract on it. And then I stamped it with a UCC 1308 because I know that they assume that the UCC applies if there is no other agreement in place. That's in their law. So you might want to write some documents to tell them, no, common law, motherfuckers. I didn't sign up for UCC. UCC is you guys, your private corporation. In order for me to be part of that UCC, I have to have a contract. Oh, but I didn't tell you that. Oh, you didn't tell me that I needed it because I thought it was self-evident. Well, my mistake, because it turns out it's not self-evident. So I need to pick up one of these things and write to them, informing them of who I am, what my status is, where I am, who I am, what I am, and that I'm not wavering any rights. Look, I've come all the way back down around. Telling you, we got such huge changes coming. It's going to be hard for you to keep up. And that's part of it because they know when you have all this shit coming from all different sides, you tend to shut down. And when last couple of days, especially when they're doing their rights and all that other shit that they're doing right now, right here on Maui, I drove by the airport today. All the fucking private planes are there. And if you talk, they're all here. Give them about 20 minutes. There will be disturbances in the force. They don't fuck around. They absolutely believe this shit. Anyway, getting back to the idea that you guys need to understand, all of us need to understand, they are deathly fucking serious about this. They are fanatics to the point where they will sacrifice their firstborn. Mutilate themselves. And you guys still, and when I say you guys, I'm talking about me too, don't seem to understand that it might be time to take some action. But see, it's very hard to take action when you don't know who to act upon or against. And they got you shut down from all sides because now you're grieving. Because how many of you know what's coming when it comes to the fact that they did this and now you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop? Who's going to raise their kids? Their children, their sons and daughters. Who's going to do it when they're not around? Who gets the house? Some of these guys are young. Children are still in their teens or under 10. And they're not going to have a mommy and a daddy. And they're probably not going to have an auntie or an uncle. So then what? Right? I talk about getting food. Most of you figured out that, yeah, that's actually not a bad idea, as it turns out. Food, water. But the idea being that you still can't. And see, it's just natural. It's just natural. Fortunately, I went to a very interesting place. wherein they one of the things they instructed us in. What did I just do with that one? I guess now I got piles of books everywhere. Uh-oh. It was just here. How did it fly away? Anyway, On Death and Dying, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross is the one I'm looking for, which I don't see at the moment. I must have piled it over here someplace. But yeah, there it is. Just that I'm surrounded by books piled 7 to 10 high. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stacks. Books. They're kind of important. You ever watch Cribs? We had motherfucking libraries. If I had all that money, I would have one room and it would just be books from floor to ceiling, all 4 walls, and probably a couple of bookcases in the middle. But anyway, this one, you got to get this one. Because they're going to try. You can't think straight when you're grieving. You can't think straight when you have pressure from all sides. You can't, right? It's very difficult to operate. The most simple things. And then Cliff High, I agree with him. There's going to be accidents, I believe he called them. Wherein, because they've done this thing to themselves, they're not thinking straight anyway. Because of chemicals. And then they wind up doing stupid stuff and people are going to die. Now, I don't believe that that's too far from absolutely correct. Further, even just us who, I don't know about you guys, who may or may not have taken we're going to have some hard times being able to think straight and make the right decisions because of all this pressure. It's called cognitive load, and they know they understand how this works, and what they're doing is loading your cognizance so that it makes it hard for you to operate. Somebody just stabbed me. Ow! There it is. Oh. Spanish needle. Tang Ali curse, they call that. Anyway, it was in my sock. I must have brushed up against the weed or something. Anyhow, the point being is that they are doing this very much on purpose. This is not an experiment. They know what they're doing. We have reached that stage of the game that many of us warned against for many years. And now that we're here, none of us seem to know what to do because many of your friends and relatives will not be here in 3 years. Period. If they did this. And that's why if you mention it or talk about it, they take you down. And they don't have enough eyes and ears to watch all the videos, but they have the ear called AI that can do it for them. And then they can send a human on it if they need to. I have an account where they were pulling shit up from like years ago. 10 years I've had one of the Facebook accounts. And they started pulling shit up that were violations of their community standards from years and years ago to silence me. And they silenced me for 90 days because in 90 days, that's all it took. In the last 90 days, they have rolled out millions of them. Almost said it. But they rolled out millions of them. And millions of those people are going to die. I hate to say it. It's not crazy talk. You know, search your heart. You know, this is coming. And if they did it 3 times, ain't no getting them back. If they only did it once and they decided, I don't want to do this anymore, probably can fix that because there's a thing called homeostasis. Now, there's an argument on whether it's permanent or reversible. I don't know. I've done a lot of research, from people I respect. There are arguments on both sides. But after that, the vampire books will tell you that after 3, you either become one of them or you die. That's just crazy talk. It's just novels. It's just books that they wrote to entertain us. There was no notice there. Okay, that's fine. I know why you would think that way. But the idea is that if they've had more than likely, that's going to be one. You should hear what women are saying about their cycle. And I mean, there have been those that did this and haven't stopped bleeding since. And for one of them that I don't know this person, but I know of this person through another person, it's been like 6 weeks. Anyway. Holy cow. Yep. And then what do? Then they turn it off, because when the 2046 thing happens, you ain't going to be able to access we're not going to be able to do this anymore. Because the power grid is a little more fragile than you think. Yeah, absolutely it did. On more than one occasion. They may not license a right back to you. They can, but they do, but you don't have to, absent contract. What book? Yeah, I know. See? That's part of the thing. I mean, there are people that I cannot believe. I have billionaire friends, billion with a B. You would think they have access to all manner of, and both of them took a shot. I said, what the fuck were you guys thinking? And now they don't like talk to me. Because I'm just a little muggle. Right? I mean, compared to them, I have no money. If they woke up with my money, they'd kill themselves. But anyway, they're billionaires. They took it. All right, Dr. Drew. Now he's pissed. Go take a look at that. Do some research on that. He got the JJ shot because he wanted to go travel to Greece. Why do you want to go to Greece? Well, because there's ruins and stuff there. Yeah. Anyway, and then he found out that there's been a lot of places where the JJ shot got held up and then he woke up with a black eye and not feeling so hot, and now he's doing his research. That's fucking Dr. Drew. Adam Carolla and Dr. Drew. I just love listening to their stupid show at night. Sometimes they come up with the most ridiculous stuff. Anyway. Yep. Yes, he did. Just one. Insane. But yeah, okay. So that's the other thing. Yeah, they want to burn the whole thing down because word was getting out, and they don't know how to shut this down. So one of the ways to shut it down is to get rid of a bunch of people. Believe it or not. Why? Because that's going to affect those of us that know. And it's going to, like I said, it shuts you down. Cognitive load. Your cognitive load. You gotta go meditate. You gotta go to a beach. You gotta go waterfall, river. You gotta go mountains, forest. You gotta get outdoors. You gotta remember that because every once in a while my boy says the most ridiculous things like, what is wrong with you? You live in paradise. Go to the beach. Go hiking with your friends. Go get out of the house. You're spending too much time on the damn computer. Because if you go outside, everything's fine. Right? Where the problems are all up here. I mean, yeah, the casualties are real. And yeah, but I mean, overall, this is a mental game. This book right here, which I will not be able to find easily because it's in one of these piles, tells you right here on page, oops, I can point to it, page 10, if you get this, there they're all laid out. What's number one? Mentalism. So what do they first do? Get control of the mind. They figured out all the rest of that gender and all. Screw all that. Get control of their mind. You got them. How you get control of their mind? Oh, this little device. Oh, this little device. Oh, that big device. That thing hasn't been on in years. I got a big screen TV over there, but I haven't turned it on in years. Now, the idea is that it's coming. We're here. You need to figure out. This is why I said there's paperwork to be done. And they're going to do everything you can to make it so that you can't do that. The first easiest one. Excuse me, you guys over there at the which IRS are we talking about? We're talking about the Department of the Treasury IRS. Wait a minute. Did that say the United States Department of Treasury IRS? No. It just says Department of the Treasury IRS. Does that say United States of America IRS? No. That just says Department of the Treasury IRS. Doesn't say United States IRS. In fact, United States IRS doesn't even sound right. Sits funny in your ear because you've never heard United States IRS, United States of America IRS. No, it's the Internal Revenue Service of a private corporation known as the Department of the Treasury. That's how I first got into this, way, way, way back in the 90s. When I went, well, that's crazy talk. And then I found out, no, that's not crazy talk. Anyway, the easiest letter to write is to let them know, excuse me, I'm not dead. That's your first letter. Figure out how to say that in terms that they understand, in the form that they want. And then send it to the IRS, to wherever you are. For me, it's Ogden or Fresno. And understand each one of those is private corporations. And they compete for your business. They want you to be a customer. Okay, so that's step one. Excuse me, not dead. My MFR code should read MFR 01, not required. I'm exempt, I'm immune. Figure out what it is. By the way, Title 26 is not positive law, so it applies to a certain class of people of which I do not believe I am part. If I am part of that class, and you don't even have to go this far when you get down to it, just let them know you're not dead. But anyway, if I am part of that class, maybe you can inform me and show me what documents or obligations or contracts or other things upon which you rely that would tell me that I am in this class that is subject to Title 26. Because I can find nowhere, I have no facts or evidence that show that I am party to Constitution, United States Constitution, or the codes and statutes. I can find no facts or evidence that the APA applies to the living man. I'm a living man, so I can find no place where the codes and statutes apply to the living man. To legal fictions, absolutely, and you cannot apply them to the living man absent contract. I am not the obligee. I am not the trustee. I am the beneficiary of these trusts. I am the beneficiary of the Constitution. And what you try to do through unlawful conversion is convert me into the trustee, or into a trustee position, or into an obligee position, or into a grantee position, or into a tenant position, instead of being landlord. So instead of being the lessor of this property, I am the lessee of the property because I signed a contract saying that, right? Unlawful conversion. I'm not the lessee. I'm the lessor. I'm not the obligee. I'm the obligor. Obligator. Gotta look up that word. Use it right. Right? And again, it's understanding. There it is again. Grantor. Trustees are the operators. You are the destroyer of that trust because you're the beneficiary. Ain't but three things going on there. And this is one thing. This is one trust. The trust has three positions. The grantor, right? This is the guy that establishes the trust. This is the genesis of the thing. There's already a Sustake trust set up. So you are not the one that, but you are the one that made it so that the paperwork is done. Now, they try to put you over here in this position, which is the trustee or the grantee, right? Or the lessee or the obligee, the one that's obligated. You're not obligated by right. You have no duty or obligation to these people without contract. And the way they got you into that contract was false with a birth certificate. You were a minor at the time. So that contract must be voidable. At any rate, you are the beneficiary. You are the beneficiary of the Constitution. You are the beneficiary of the trust. You are the beneficiary. They did all of this that was supposed to be to benefit you. Now, here's the thing. Benefits come with obligations. So you accept no benefits. I have never cast a check from the United States. Never. I've never cast a check from state of Hawaii. Never. Accept no benefits. They gave me a $2 check once, which was a trap. Didn't cash it. Okay, so you need to understand who you are, where you are. Where does this beneficiary live? Are you a resident of DC? Are you a resident of the state of Hawaii? Are you a resident of the county of Maui? Or do you live on the land? If you don't know, you don't know. Okay, so they try to convert you from this beneficiary to this trustee. They try to convert you back to the operator who is obligated, who is responsible. Now, what you are is a witness on behalf, a signer on behalf, an operator on behalf, acting on behalf. You are the half, half. You are the other half of that agreement between the legal fiction and the living man. The living man, if you say you're authorized to represent, then you are obligated. So no, you are authorized to represent, yes, but that doesn't make me obligated. So maybe if it does, you show me the contract or obligation upon which you're relying. That makes me the obligee, because I'm telling you that I'm authorized to represent, just like it says on my checks. That line right there. That is a fraudulent conveyance of language. Right? It's also a ruse. It's also a trick. It's also fraud, because you think it's a solid line. And what that solid line says, where you sign on your check, if you will get out one of these and take a look, or get a jeweler's glass out, if you get out one of these, you will see that line says in microprint over and over again, so close together that it looks like a solid line: authorized representative, authorized representative, authorized representative. Okay, so who are you authorized to represent? The all caps name is who you're authorized to represent. And what you need to let them know is, yes, I am the living man, but I am not obligated. I am acting on behalf. You figure out your words and go search me out before you go and do anything stupid. Go look up some law books and go find out if what I'm saying is true. And make sure that you inform them that you are acting on behalf. But you can find no facts or evidence, because I can find no facts or evidence. If you can find some facts or evidence, send them my way. That I am that they can administer my estate absent contract. I can find no facts or evidence that any of these codes or statutes apply to the living man, only to the legal fiction that you created, the corporate person that you made at nexus of this whole thing with the birth certificate. And until such time as you can start to elucidate these concepts and write them down clearly in short, concise sentences, maybe you don't do anything and you just study. But clock is ticking, folks. Like I said, they mean to rule you. Who started this thing? It was Masons that started this thing. The Masons are fairly exclusive. They don't just let anybody in. When this whole thing was first started, you had to have property. Well, the property that you have is this now. But before, it was actual land that you could walk around on. That made you part. That showed that you were able to be seated and be an elector in that republic. You had to be landed, and you had to be a male, right? Because you voted as a family unit. The women had no say, technically. But if you believe that, anyway. But it was a unit, and this is the other thing. When it comes to this, they only needed half of you, because they consider when you marry that these two things, which is actually three things, join to make one thing. And then they interlope in that by getting you into a marriage contract and getting you to sign a certificate. What the hell does the state have to do with this? Well, they try to make it because, yeah, they set up trusts and document insurance and all kind of shit. But anyway, the point of this is that they get one of them with this, they got both of them. There are plenty of stories now where women that didn't have sex with men who did, and then wind up miscarrying. Spontaneous abortion. Many stories now wherein she's smart enough because she was thinking about it or got pregnant or whatever, and decided, yeah, well, hell no, I'm not doing this. And then she went to work with a whole bunch of people that did do that, and she still wound up having a miscarriage. And there's a plenty of stories like this. This is all anecdotal evidence. We need to run some studies. No, we don't. When hundreds of people are telling the same story, like from me, for example, you know how many times I heard this story? Well, I was doing pretty good, and then I got to algebra, and I didn't know what was going on, and all the letters, and I was confused, and then I decided that I was just going to be a mom. Or then I decided I was going to get some other degree out of that college that didn't take so much math. Or I decided that's when I knew that, right, I wasn't going to go to college. Or that's when I knew that I wasn't ever going to get that job that required that mathematics. You know how many times I fucking heard that story? In all 50 states, coming out of the words coming out of the mouth of the same woman over and over again, state after state. And that woman was usually, actually, it's not true. All skin colors, all backgrounds, all ethnicities, all ethnicities, all backgrounds, all everything. But I heard that story over and over and over again, state after state. So that tells me, even though that's just anecdotal evidence, that we may have an issue with the teaching of mathematics in the United States. Possibly. Okay, same thing here. When I hear over and over again on different posts, and then better yet, they delete them. Right? And a lot of times they don't just delete the post; they delete the whole freaking account. So the person can't even post on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. And they tell the same story over and over again about horrific stuff going on with the feminine cycle and aborting children and maybe you want to pay attention. What was the cause of this? How did this happen? And again, the Western women, I believe this at the core of my being, because that was a prophecy that's a prophecy, I believe. And that prophecy is the Western women. The Western women will save civilization. Why? Because they were thinking that they had 6 months to 2 years to 3 years to cause plausible deniability. Or it wasn't us. Yeah, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. You didn't die of that. You died of this variant, or this thing, or this whatever it is. We didn't give you blankets. You didn't have smallpox. Oh, well, certainly the smallpox didn't come from us. We didn't even know about germs back then. Oh, it didn't come from us. We were trying to protect you. We're trying to save you by getting you to do this 1, 2, 3 times. Notice how once is never enough. Okay. I think I'm through here. I've made quite a mess, and it's almost 4 hours. Holy crap! Shut up. It's time to go. Yeah, it's past. It's past the witching hour by 5 minutes on this clock. We're gonna call it a day. It's a new day. It is now the 2nd of May, and it's the middle of the night? They fucked with everything. Our calendar, our day, our way to tell time, everything. Because it seems to me the morning should be the dawn of the new day. Anyway, I'll shut up now. I've talked enough. Educate self, educate others. There is no other way to go than educate self, and then use that education so that you can armor up and swing the sword. The sword you're going to swing looks suspiciously like this. You got to learn what the words mean. You got to know how to use the words in a sentence and apply them. You got to understand where they show up in various codes and statutes. You got to know where they show up in the maxims. You got to know where they show up in this book. You got to know where they show up all over the place. And you got to know what they mean so that you can employ those same words and get yourself out from under the horror of Babylon. Okay. Take it easy, Crime Stoppers. It's not as grim as it works out. When you get down to it, it's actually... I don't want to use the word beautiful because it's the ugliest beautiful I've ever seen. But it's fair. You didn't do it. I didn't hold anybody down and inject them with anything. They volunteered. And equity does not aid a volunteer. Take it easy, Crime Stoppers. E pluribus unum. Talk to you soon.